FastRacing.net today. Final three on the card coming up from South Ozone Park, New York, here at Aqueduct. And we have races 5 through 10 to come out at Oaklawn and Hot Springs. Pete Big Guy, Paula Duke will be live on site out there. We'll check in with them in just a little bit. I'm Greg Wolf, with me, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, and we get underway with this points qualifying system for the Kentucky Derby this weekend with the Jerome and the Smarty Jones.
It's a long way from the Jerome to the Kentucky Derby, I think, and we'll see what happens. But the 2025 prep season already upon us, and we can already say it. We're just 4 months away from the Kentucky Derby, but it's good to be back, and it's good to see you as well. Yeah,
my first show of the year. Very good to be back. Good to see you also. We'll start that clock, though. Countdown to the Derby. We'll have both those races for you tomorrow. We'll have a preview of those coming up. But the meat of both these cards still ahead as well. We're about 9 minutes away from race 6 here at Aqueduct. And we're coming up on race 5 at Oaklawn. Race 6 starts their late pick 5. Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast at both tracks. And we've had some interesting results today here in New York. See what happens in these final 3 races. We mentioned earlier before we came on the air the final finale here. Wide, maybe the most wide open betting race of the day, so that's how we'll close things out. You can play it all by getting signed up, started with Naira Bets, bonus 200, code to use at sign up. Get that $200 deposit match bonus right there at NairaBets.com. So race 6, first things first here, $40,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price in this one-turn mile coming up. Horses who've not won 2 lifetime, and right now, it is Rick Dutro's Mo Rhodes, claimed off of our buddy Tom Amoss, who is the 6-5 favorite.
And looking at the multi-race bets, this horse is going to be a substantial favorite in this race, probably over the 6 by the time we get to post time in here. And it's, to me, it is strictly he's going to run better than he's ever run before for Rick Dutro, because I don't think this horse is particularly captivating. He ran fine 2 back, and he did have a bit of an excuse 2 races last time. This is 2 races back when he ran second, but I don't know what makes this race makes him a heavy favorite, and it just seems like the money is coming in because Rick Dutro, maybe not as hot as he was 2 months ago, but he's still been pretty hot. His horses are running very well.
Yeah, a little strange to see this short a price. As you mentioned, this was 30,000 non-winners of 2. Early November, Churchill would run second, beat a length. And this type of performance, probably, he's right there in the mix, but even that, if he can run that back, it's not like he's some overwhelming favorite.
No, you are betting this horse on the come that he's going to improve for Rick. And, like a horse like Boy's Coat in race 7, who's first time for Rick, the number 7, who's going to be a heavy favorite looking at doubles, at least he's got races sort of to go back to. I'm not convinced this horse is that good. And while he scares me on the changes, I think the Monopoly Man, who I believe you like as well, right?
But this horse was the 8-5 morning line favorite. This is Bold Ambition, beat at 4-5. Beat at 1-2 in this race right here, running, fast races, but getting beat time and time again at short numbers.
That's the problem. I think, if I was going to write a handicapping book, this would be the kind of horse I would use in a part discussion of short prices that are good to bet against. Horses that lose back-to-back races at odds on. Any horse can have a bad day, or some horse steps up and runs a big race. But when you run at 4-5 and then 1-2 and finish second and fourth, to me, that's just a bad sign.
And doing that against a little bit easier fields. This is a minor jump up in class, but facing some tougher horses than he's had to face those last 2 starts.
And he's also, with no disrespect to Kira McGee coming in from out of town, but this horse was with Michelle Nevin, was with Linda Rice, and one time it was with Safi Joseph. This horse has been in the barns of trainers that win in higher percentages, so I don't care who you are, you're not claiming a horse that's easy to move up.
7-2 right now. Christopher Elliott will be aboard. As for the Monopoly Man, you mentioned we both like this horse, the 6. Tom Morley, second off the claim. And Manny Franco will be aboard. And this one is tackling easier today, coming out of an open company entry-level allowance at Aqueduct.
His race 2 back when he was claimed for 50, I think he ran well enough that day to be very competitive here. Okay, they ran it once off the claim. Can't blame them for taking the starter allowance route. And he was just in a particularly tough race where the pace really held together that day. And I just think this is a reasonable and intelligent drop for him into a logical spot.
I wouldn't get too enticed with 4-1 either. You're not going to get 4-1.
No, I think you're going to get 3 to 1-ish, probably 5 to 2 at the lowest. But because the 3 is so heavily bet, I mean, the story though of the betting in this race is the lack of money for the 4 Bold Ambition. It's sort of like they're betting this guy like he's glowing, you know, like he's radioactive, and they don't want any part of him.
And look, even though, to be fair to him, and we both are betting against. He's been pretty consistent running his race,
speed
hasn't he?
figures are fast enough to beat these horses, so it's not like he doesn't have the credentials to win. I think our opinion in betting against him was based on the 8-5 morning line and assuming he'd be in the 2-1 range, and we didn't want to take a short price. I can't argue with somebody taking 9-2 on him, 4-1 now. Sort of very strange.
Yeah. 5 minutes to post. We hear the call to post in the background, so let's get a look at the field. We'll start with Rohan, who got his dirt debut after 4 starts on the grass last start.
Yeah, he's going to have to run a lot better than that, even to justify 19-1.
Yeah, did very little running. Here is Burning Beauty. Tried this level last start, made little impact.
Well, I don't think he's really a contender. I think he's a lot more likely to win than the 1.
Here's the favorite, Rick Dutrow, off the claim.
Yeah, I mean, he's just getting absolutely pounded, and I don't believe he's going to go much higher, if at all.
Bold Ambition. He wants to be forward as well.
Boy, the bettors want nothing to do with this horse right now, and he's probably an overlay, even though I'm a little against him.
8-5 morning line. He's 4-1. Here's 6 Kings. Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano.
Linda's 6 for 8 in 2025 at Naira, looking to make it, I think, 6 for 9 now. She lost the last race, so 6-7 for 10. But she'd really have to improve this horse even on the best races.
Here's the Monopoly Man for Tom Morley.
Yeah, we just think he's a reasonable horse, should be in a good stalking spot.
And Blame It on Daddy, who's been almost exclusively on the grass of late.
I've always had a bit of a thing for this horse, Ferocity de Paz, and, you know, he did run okay enough in some dirt races that I wouldn't completely dismiss him.
3 minutes away from this 6th here at Aqueduct, our first live action of this Friday afternoon. Let's head downstairs, check in with the winningest rider in the history of this racetrack, the Mig. What can you tell us trackside, Mig?
Hey guys, Happy New Year, and let's start with the 3, Mo Rhodes, who looked outstanding in the paddock, is taking all the money, 8-5 favorite right now. He just pretty much ran off with Jose Gomez. The outrider caught him about the 5/8 pole, got him pulled up down about the half-mile pole. I'm all for big aggressive warm-ups. This horse probably did a bit too much in my estimation, and if the outrider missed him, this horse would have been a late scratch. He was out of control for about a quarter of a mile down the backstretch. Just got a bit too strong for Jose Gomez. Maybe that's one he should have stayed with the pony. The 4-horse Bold Ambition, you know, it's interesting, right? We're always talking about what we see on paper, how we handicap races, and what we see physically. I really was hoping to like this horse more from a physical perspective. I did not. I will say I do think he's lone speed. I see absolutely no speed sign on here at all, and I do think he's going to get to control things and get a pretty soft ride on the lead. I just preferred others physically, and the one that checked those boxes for me was the 6, the Monopoly Man. Was the paddock pick the way he looked in the paddock, looked fantastic on the racetrack, gets Manny Franco. I like that change to Manny, an aggressive rider. Love the way he's been warming up, his extension, great coat, and I don't think he'll be too far away. I do think the pace is a concern, but I do think, especially with Manny aboard, he finds himself in a good spot. So he's the one that the puzzle pieces fit, physically as well as liking him on paper a bit.
Mig, thank you. About to load up here. Minute away from this 6th. And favoritism has not shifted from Mo Rhodes, who also, too, I mean, they're putting blinkers on, so maybe they'll try and get him involved a little bit earlier, but he's still going to be coming from off the pace.
With
Mo Rhodes.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You're probably right. He's going to be coming from off the pace. But the thing that I would worry about is sometimes when these horses get into new barns, especially a barn like Dutrow's, they're going to show more speed. And interestingly enough, the 6 is now favored, and I don't want him as the favorite in this race. I think he's an underlay at 9-5. But I wonder sometimes, even though he hasn't been a horse that's shown speed, and I agree with you, I bet you he's a lot closer today. But I agree with Richie, the 4 is the speed, and the 6 should be stalking him. I wonder how close the 3 will be.
Cross country, pick 5. You can play it on Naira Bets. It starts with this race right here. How many will you use to try and get out of this 6th? It includes race 7 at Aqueduct, then races 5, 6, and 7 out in Hot Springs as well.
Yeah. So what do you do here?
Those are not easy races.
I would have used 3 and 6. I would single the 7 at Aqueduct, 5, 6, 7 at Oaklawn. Well, that's impossible. I think I like the 10 in the 5th race at Oaklawn. Heated argument. But I'll defer to Paulie. I like the 11 in the 6th race on the cutback. And the 7th, pretty wide open. Thought the 6 was dangerous in there. Do you have any thoughts?
9, 11, 12, I thought would be tough. You
6?
got to use the 6, Atomic Tone. Those are
Yeah, I
probably
would
the
use
4
the
I
9.
want.
Definitely use the 9, yeah.
Race 6,
I've done the work, but it's
1,
hard.
2, maybe the 6.
1 and 2 seem logical. I like the 11.
Yeah, I would have to use
I
the
have
11.
to. I'm going to bet the 11 in there. You know me, I'm a sucker for a turnback, and his trainer, J.K. Sweezy, has good numbers with turnbacks overall, maidens and in general.
And heated argument's going to be very tough. But the 2 Summer Shoes has some big races.
In race number 5,
5, yeah.
I have the 2 in there for sure. Dropping down this race makes some sense. These are Archie breds, right? That'll be my
Yes.
first Archie bred race in the race 2025.
Miss you, Garhole.
Won't be my last one.
My favorite Arkansas bred of all time.
You are. You really should probably. Surprised you don't get a Christmas card from Garhole. I think Garhole has Christmas cards.
I gave
He
him a lot of
does.
publicity on
If
the
he
show.
has Christmas cards and Greg Wolf didn't get one, that's very, very wrong.
Here we go. 3-2 favoritism. The Monopoly Man, the one to beat. Tom Morley second off the claim with Manny Franco. There's the one who had been favored through most of it, the 3 Mo Roads for the Dutro Barn with Jose Gomez. And the price, well, not as attractive on the 4, Bold Ambition, 5-2 now.
3-2 on the 6. Too low for me. I had bet him to win. I canceled my bet.
Good luck. Cross country pick 5 starts right here. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Monopoly Man. Blame it on Daddy. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Left in the gate there was Mo Rhodes. Just completely missed the start, and Mo Rhodes is the lone trailer. Fast start towards the outside from the Monopoly Man. The Monopoly Man has pressure towards the inside from Bold Ambition, who now puts ahead in front. At the rail is Rohan, and these front 3 now hook up as they come out of the chute. Blame It on Daddy is settled into 4th, is to the outside of Burning Beauty, and Mo Rhodes is out in the center of the racetrack, second to last, with the trailer 6 Kings. They're chasing Bold Ambition, and Bold Ambition has a lead 23-3 for the opening quarter mile. Right to the outside, the Monopoly Man, and tracking from 3rd at the rail is Rohan. Then behind them is Blame It on Daddy, progressing from 4th, and also Mo Rhodes is trying to pick up rivals from the back of the pack. Second to last will now be Burning Beauty, and the trailer still 6 Kings as they chase Bold Ambition to the half-mile point. 4 furlongs left to go, and Bold Ambition with a neck in front. Here's the run from the Monopoly Man, who's had a perfect trip so far. The Monopoly Man is ready to stalk and pounce, and now the Monopoly Man has put a nose in front. Blame It on Daddy, and Luis Rivera Jr. try to follow that move. In between horses, tight hold here, Rohan. And Rohan looks to have some run, nowhere to go yet, is in the 4th position. Also trying to run on there is Burning Beauty. Mo Rhodes is all out now as they reach the top of the stretch. The Monopoly Man is cut loose. Blame It on Daddy is towards the outside. The Monopoly Man and Blame It on Daddy, these two continue to duke it out, and Blame It on Daddy now puts ahead in front the Monopoly Man. Burning Beauty is trying to rally on, and here comes the run from Burning Beauty inside the final furlong. Blame It on Daddy is sprinting clear. Blame It on Daddy is now up by 2.5 lengths inside the final 16th. Burning Beauty has run up into second. Blame It on Daddy is your winner. Blame It on Daddy wins it over Burning Beauty. Then came the Monopoly Man and Mo Rhodes in 1 minute 39.30 seconds.
Blame It on Daddy at 13-1. Horacio de Paz, Luis Rivera Jr.
But it's first time in the dirt for Horacio de Paz, and the reality is he got back to his better turf races, and most of his dirt races were early in his career, and the only one since then has been a sloppy sealed track, and he ran competitively early in his career. Obviously, as Horacio wins 2 straight, got the right trip, and he ran today. Extremely disappointing efforts from really everybody that got bet. The 6 was awful in not being able to hold second. The way the 7 ran, he wasn't beating them, but he had no excuse not to be second. And the 3 got completely left in here, but he did a little running after that, not much. And the 4 ran like he was bet early.
3 horses at 8-5, 2-1, 5-2. Get nothing from then. It's a 13-1 shot. Springs this upset here at a 28-1 shot, by the way, underneath. This Exacta Healthy if you had it. 7-2, 6-3, but it's all about blaming it on Daddy for the victory here. And a big upset in our, this might be enough for a pick 6 on a day like this.
I think so.
Going to help that pick 5 as well. Let's check in for the first time in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and 11 minutes away from the 5th at Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint, as Andy told us. Arkansas bred race. $10,000 claiming race coming up. We'll meet the field coming up from this one in a moment. We have some big races coming up over the weekend as well, including the road to the Kentucky Derby with the Smarty Jones. For more, let's check in with Lafitte Pinkai and Paul Lo Duca.
Yeah, Greg, perhaps a sign of things to come this weekend. Just had a $91 winner here at Oaklawn Park. Exciting time to be a racing fan here at Oaklawn tomorrow. Yeah, that next step towards the Arkansas Derby, the Smarty Jones, Paul, with 21 Kentucky Derby points on the line. This is where it all started for Mystic Dan last season, launching his 3-year-old season in the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, and I think the key part about it is we're going to have good weather. It's going to be a little bit on the chilly side, but no rain in the forecast. It looks like it's going to be like in the 30s or mid-30s or so. So looks like there's going to be a fair track. And it looks like a lot of these 3-year-olds are ready to make that next step.
Yeah, and for that road to the Kentucky Derby here, big picture, we'll get to some of the horses and the stories behind them. But yeah, the series itself, Paul, with the Smarty Jones tomorrow, a late January with the Southwest, now worth $1 million. The Rebel, the Arkansas Derby, the series alone. We know all about the Kentucky Derby points. The series alone, though, worth $4 million.
Yeah, and you can understand why a lot of the top barns are bringing their horses in here. $4 million on the line, and then you can punch your ticket to the first Saturday in May. And, you know, you go through what happened here last year. Kentucky Oaks winner ran through here, and the Kentucky Derby winner, like you said, Mystic Dan.
That's tomorrow. As for today's program, they're playing our song Post Parade Brewing here shortly at the upcoming 6 race. Do you have a best bet on the afternoon?
You know, the guys were mentioning, I like No Joke and Atomic Tone. I think that in race number 7, I thought those 2 horses, so instead of giving you a best bet, I'm going to give you a best bet exactly. I think you can box those 2 horses 6-9.
All right, all that coming your way. Greg, on the track here. We'll meet the field very shortly for the 6 at Oaklawn Park.
All right, we look forward to it. Thanks, guys. We're going to take a timeout. Take a look at our road to the Derby as well. And the Jerome coming up on Saturday. Studley Do-Right, winner of the Nashua 2 starts ago for Jerry Robb. See what he can produce this weekend. Stay with us. Back with you on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, brought to you in part where you can play it all at Nara Bets. A surprise to many, although Andy Serling made a pretty strong case for this one. Blame it on Daddy. 2880. Blame it on Daddy, for the victory here and the upset. This is going to reward you big time in the pick 5.
Yeah, no, I agree. Looking through, you were mentioning about the pick 6. So what do we got so far? We had a favorite. We had a 1 of 4 taking money, and we got a pause on the 5th. Yeah, this thing doesn't have to be hit today, believe it or not. We saw yesterday how tenuous it is in some of these pick 6 pools.
Yeah, Bold Endeavor getting beat as well at 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Going to help produce potentially a carry. Race 7, 1-turn mile, 40,000. Non-winners of 2. Boys Code, even money for that early Rick Dutrow Jr. money again.
Yeah, I like Boys Code. I wouldn't bet it even money and didn't think this horse would be that short. This is a pretty extensive trainer change. Also rider change as well, getting Jose Lezcano on a horse that I always felt had some ability, but he is a horse that lacks speed in a race that doesn't have much speed. So even money seems a little bit dicey, and there are other options, and even money, to me, too low on him, even though I like him.
As we've said, Road to the Kentucky Derby in New York begins tomorrow. We'll have it live on the program with the Jerome. Look at the field that will line up for this 1-turn mile worth $150,000 and, of course, 10 points to get into that Derby starting gate for the winner. Most experienced horse of the field is also the Nashua winner, Studley Do-Right. This was his best moment with this 86 buyer and a win.
Yeah, now he didn't run quite as well when asked to go another furlong around 2 turns in the Remsen. But this was a strong effort for him in a solid enough field. I think he's very dangerous and one of the main players in this race. I don't really have a lot to add. I thought this was kind of a tricky race, the Jerome. I didn't love anybody in there, but he looks like one of the major players.
Quite a few. Well, there's a few with experience. He's certainly the most experienced, but you have McAfee, one who's stepping up. We'll see if Georgia Magic can improve, has a lot to improve.
What about the synthetic horse, the number 2? Mancetti. Why is that horse? Can't that horse handle it? He's got a pedigree that says he should be able to handle dirt. I imagine if they shipped him down, they worked him on the dirt training track at Woodbine. In fact, I think he shows a work on that track. So I thought he was a little interesting as a stranger in a race where, I'll be honest, I wasn't enthralled by anybody. I think they're all lucky that yesterday's second winner for Linda Rice didn't run in that race, because that would have drowned this field.
Huge performance. What number did he
90
get?
buyer. Wow. Imagine Linda will have to be taking serious spots in that horse.
So Studley Do-Right 5-2 morning line for that Jerome on the road to the Derby tomorrow. Back to Oaklawn and race 5, 3 minutes away. Let's go back to Lafitte and Paul.
Arkansas bred $10,000 claimers here. Paul, a little will go a long way. You do like the favorite in heated argument, but the good news, at a better price than you anticipated.
Well, yeah, when you look at heated argument and you look at the figures and the numbers on the 10 horse in here, I thought this horse would be even money or so. So the fact that the horse is only 5-2 cause for worry for me a little bit on the betting board.
And then they're getting closer to the starting gate here. You also have Kitiara there and Christian Torres. Torres now a 2-time leading Oaklawn jockey here and defending Oaklawn leading rider, and off to a fast start this season.
Yeah, he is. And Christian actually got off to a slow start to the meet last year. And, Kitiara is a horse that does possess some speed, showed some speed down in Louisiana. And who's going to take the initiative in this race? Tyler Bacon with the drop on the 10. Does that horse go forward? I would think Christian tries to go forward with the 5.
What about Milligan, Mike, and me, drawn inside it at 9-2, much farther back than she typically is in her last start? What are you expecting from her today?
The 1 and the 2 are the two confusing mares in here. Summer Shoes at one time was the favorite in here for a little while. She's dropping to an all-time low to 10,000. And, Tom Swearington, had talked to me and said, listen, she needs a drop. And when she breaks from the breaks, she's usually really good. Her issue has been she can't break. And, only 14 starts as a 7-year-old. And you get back to the 1, I thought, her effort was just as good. But at 24-1, do you want to take 9-2? So, and I also think the 11 in here for Robert Klein and Kelsey Haar is a horse that will improve at 9-1.
These bigger fields with these Arkansas-bred races, it feels like it's expect the unexpected, much like we saw about 25 minutes ago with a $91 winner.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, they had a $99 winner earlier, a $30 winner. So when you get to these Arkansas-bred races, it seems like it's either the chalk or it's something you can't find. You know, if I was going to look outside the box in here, I don't know. You know, it's so hard to figure out in here where to go to if you're thinking outside the box. You know, I think outside the box for me in this race would be the 11.
Looking at an outsider there, 35-1. Tyler Bacon aboard the favorite, number 10, Heated Argument. Story we touched on right at the top of the meet, at the beginning of the meet, Paul, and the new faces, all the apprentices here at Oaklawn Park. Tyler Bacon winning a race for Dwayne Lucas a couple of weeks back. What have you noticed from Tyler, and what kind of start to the meet he's had thus far?
Well, I think he's proved that he is a really good finisher. For a kid that's 17 years old, I think that's the phenomenal part about it. I think he's younger than the wide receiver from Alabama. But it's kind of crazy that at this age, he's very cerebral. You'll see a lot of kids and that are bug boys that kind of just go, right? You know, they're taught, you know, let's put you on a speed horse and let's just go. I think Tyler's more cerebral and at that age, and he finishes very well. So I think he's above his years when it comes to riding horses, especially being at the age of 17.
Where should he have Heated Argument placed early on in this 6 furlong dash to be most effective?
I mean, if this horse runs any of those races going back to Louisiana, I mean, I don't know how they beat her.
She has to be close. She was just off a step slow last time. That cost her. She's normally in the mix early.
She's got to be, yeah, she's got to break. And maybe, you know, being inside, she's 7 now. You know, now the board's starting to reflect where she should be, 8-5. I thought she'd be 6-5, even money in the spot. I landed on her. Now, she's the horse to beat in here. But I do think that the 2 Summer Shoes on the drop, this is her day.
Summer Shoes, Rocco Bowen at 5-2, filing in. Matt Dinnerman with the load-in call on this eve of the Smarty Jones, the 5th race live from Oaklawn. It's post time.
Shut up, please. Coming in, Dixie Girl 2 to post position number 8. Numa, and she's storming in the orange jacket. 2 back. Heated Argument to the outside post. And Zong's Irish Frost to round out the field. 11 sprinters here. Arky Breds going 3/4 of a mile. We're ready to go. And we're off. Kitiara with a little bit of an awkward break there. Heated Argument, the favorite, had no problems getting out of the gate and darts to the lead. Little Burritos right behind in chase mode second. Queenie's Way on a hold. Zong's Irish Frost is deep on the course. On the inside, Summer Shoes is rushing forward. Summer Shoes coming up to challenge Heated Argument on the front end. Shut Up Please between that pair easing off. Gap of 2 to Zong's Irish Frost. Then Little Burrito, Milligan, Mike, and me to the inside. Now the riders lost the irons on Queenie's Way in midfield, but not being persevered with, dropping back Queenie's Way going into the far turn. Passed by Kitiara, gap of 2.5 to She's Storming, Numa, and Dixie Girl 2. They round the far turn. Summer Shoes under pressure. Heated Argument cruising to the front and kicks on. Heated Argument going to be tough to beat here as she hits the quarter pole. 1.5 lengths clear of Summer Shoes. Going to get outside here for the stretch drive and attempt to rebid. Heated Argument down the stretch, opening up 2. Now it's 2.5. Summer Shoes second on the inside. Milligan, Mike, and me's running on. They come to the 16th pole. Heated Argument still in front. Summer Shoes, look at this. Summer Shoes very game on the outside, coming back at Heated Argument, who's asked for her best. Summer Shoes alongside. It is a photo, and I think it went to Summer Shoes. We'll give it to Summer Shoes over Heated Argument. Milligan, Mike, and me, and She's Storming.
A thrilling finish in this 5th race at Oaklawn Park. Summer Shoes, Heated Argument, hitting the wire simultaneously. Paul, this is where you don't miss. This is where you don't miss. Who got it?
I think the 2 got it. It's pretty amazing. You know, the rider on Heated Argument just looked like he was loaded, Tyler Bacon, and he's finishing in the middle of the racetrack. But Summer Shoes got races to go back to, and I told you, listen, this 2's going to come back on this 10 horse here, and exactly what happened. Rocco Bowen stayed busy on Summer Shoes, and you know, usually the inside does get the bias, but the 2 was just relentless here, and I think is going to get there in the shadow of the wire. Yeah.
Summer Shoes, who you like going in at 3-2. Was that more Summer Shoes lengthening her stride and going out and getting the leader, or did Heated Argument just come up small when it mattered most?
I don't know. You know, Heated Argument obviously was looking around on the front end. Tyler Bacon stayed busy on the 10 all the way through the stretch. He took nothing for granted. You know, he was able to clear. You're thinking, okay, I've already put the 2 away. This rarely happens when a horse re-rallies, but a lot of guts here for Summer Shoes, who ended up going off as your favorite.
2-10-1-4. Who says a $10,000 claimer can't produce a thrilling finish, as we just saw in this 5th race at Oaklawn Park? All right, so not the $91 winner that we saw in the 4th race. Chalkier this time, 3-2. Summer Shoes in the 5th at Oaklawn Park. Coverage continues on the Smarty Jones weekend. Plus, well, it was a Smarty party at Oaklawn Park back in 2004. The Pennsylvania bred who took the racing world on the ride of a lifetime, from humble beginnings to near Triple Crown glory. Stay tuned.
Idiomatic in front, 16th to go in the Juddmonte colors. Florent Giroux aboard. Idiomatic to win the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster.
Idiomatic is taking the lead. Clarion trying to squeeze through, but it's going to be Idiomatic to win.
And Idiomatic just opens back up here with every stride. No catching. Idiomatic winning the Juddmonte Spinster for Florent Giroux.
Curlin, the classic sire.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime, with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with 200 winners, 16% winners lifetime, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Back with you on our coverage from South Ozone Park, New York. Life goes by fast in this city. Feels like that, doesn't it sometimes?
That's the way I look at Penn Station going to get a train. You know, I have not been to the new one. I go because I come from the west from the 1, 2, and 3 train, so I go on the old Penn Station. I hear it's nice. Yeah, I hear it's very nice.
7th here again, a 1-turn mile, 40,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price. Horses who've not won 2 lifetime. And here is the even money favorite. Rick Dutrow Jr. off the claim, 1 for 25 lifetime in a very short price.
Well, I am today's chalk-eating weasel, and I picked this horse on top, not thinking I'd get this short a price. I can't resist. I've always liked this horse. I've always thought he has more ability, and I think Jose Lizcano, you're getting a real rider change into a rider, obviously, one of the best riders here. And I think Jose, with his new agent this winter, is going to enjoy a very particularly strong winter. Won't be surprised he ends up leading rider.
And, of course, Dylan Davis off to Florida.
I wish him the best of luck. I think he's nuts. But I wish him luck. I think he's got a good thing going here, and I don't think that Gulfstream is the place it was 30 years ago in the winter.
Kick off our post parade with Noble Huntsman. Here's Joey Martinez, 8-1.
Yeah, this is another one that has no speed, and if a horse wins this race with no speed, it's much more likely to be the 7.
4 starts on turf when this horse was with Chad Brown. Now dirt for Rob Atras.
Has as much dirt pedigree as turf pedigree, but the only thing I'd say is I think Chad Brown knew that too and never wanted to run the horse on dirt, but is a wild card.
As You Chase Me, Sofia Vives rides.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. Couldn't really make a case for this horse. Best racer on wet tracks, it seems like.
This one was speed stretching out.
Yeah, I think this shows speed, but I don't think this horse can possibly contend here.
Tricolor was what we said 0 for 42 before breaking his maiden.
Yes, it's hard to endorse a 1 for 43 with 24 seconds and thirds, but 6-1 is an awfully big price for a horse that has better figures than almost everybody in the race consistently.
0 for 41, excuse me. I don't want to give him that extra loss. Is 1 for 43 lifetime. Incantation at 8-1.
It's very thoughtful of you. Another horse who could be forwardly placed. I think you like this horse a little bit, yeah.
For James Bond. And then Boys Code, that short price, the favorite at even money.
I am a chalk-eating weasel, and if picked this horse, I wouldn't take even money, but I wonder if there's a way that they could get this horse to be a little bit closer today.
3 minutes to post. In the 7th, let's go down to Mig.
Yeah, guys, this race gave me a headache handicapping it on paper. The one, Noble Huntsman, physically, he looks outstanding. I mean, his coat couldn't be any better. His weight, he's got that really great animation to his stride when he went off. You know, Mitch Friedman does a great job. His horses look good. But his current form leaves a lot to be desired. I can't go in that direction. The 2, Fake Celebrity, looks outstanding. You would expect him to. He went from, a good trainer to another good trainer, and but he's only run on turf. And looking at him, he looks more like a turf horse. So I can't go in that direction, despite how good he looks physically. The 6 looks fantastic. Incantation. I just always have a very hard time deciphering that form from Finger Lakes. A big, imposing horse, looks great, really like him from a physical perspective, but again, don't trust that form. And then the horse that I really liked in the paddock, liked him in the warm-up, but I hate the price, is the 7, Boys Code, and ultimately that's where I landed before I even checked the board to see what their prices were. I think he's got a good outside post. He makes his first start for Rick Dutrow. A horse sometimes just changes when they get into a new barn, and I just thought he was a little bit interesting with that good draw and the barn change.
Mig going where just about everybody is. Public all over this even money favorite now.
It really shows how much the game has changed, where trainers have I'm not saying they have an outsized importance, because I believe in it too, but for this horse to be even money, simply because claimed by Rick Dutrow, because, and I to be fair, I think the switch Jose Lezcano also plays in a favorable way, but I mean and I picked this horse, but this horse lacks speed. There is at least a reasonable question to ask, is this horse off his best form? That's why he was dropped last time. I expect him to run well here, but I don't think he's a coin flip horse I want to bet on. I would never bet him at this price.
Awfully short number to take, but yeah, that's the power of Rick Dutrow Jr. And meanwhile, this 2-horse, very interesting. You talked about the pedigree. So the Dam, Jackson, one of her best races ever, actually came on dirt in a win, but produced a horse named Brooklyn Strong, who won the Remsen and the Sleepy Hollow. There's certainly dirt pedigree, but it is interesting that Chad Brown, when he was with Chad Brown, never tried the dirt with him.
You look through the foals, and I think the case can be made it's sort of neutral. We've seen horses that ran just about as well on turf as they ran on dirt. And a Practical Joke, there's no reason. He's had success as a turf stallion, but he's more of a dirt horse. But once again, Chad Brown had this horse. He trained Practical Joke and showed no interest in running this horse in the dirt. Now, I understand he's a trainer that's more inclined than some to go to the turf, but still, I think it's a little bit strange, and that gives me some apprehension. But with a 7 at 4-5, I mean, you're almost compelled to play somebody else, though I don't think that somebody else is 7-2 on the 2, because you're just sort of hoping that horse is a dirt horse.
But with this kind of field, though, too, maybe if he's even just as good as he's been on turf.
Oh, if he's as good as he is on turf, he can win here for sure. For sure, I agree. I'm not dying to bet against the 7. I just think the 7 is a massive underlay.
And to some degree, too, I mean, this horse has had 25 starts. We kind of know who he is. I mean, how much improvement? I understand the trainer.
I guess we'll find out right now.
Yeah.
No, but I think those are very fair questions. You're saying you really think that Rick suddenly is a 5-year-old and newly turned 5-year-old. Nonetheless, he's 1 for 25 with 11 seconds and thirds. A lot of that is he's a deep closing horse, and I think a stronger rider like Jose will help with a horse like this. But still, there are some questions about his recent form, and to just jump on him at 4 to 5. I picked him. I did not expect him to be this short. I thought he'd be around 2 to 1. Was he 5 to 2 on the line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not expect him to be this price, nor obviously the morning line maker.
It's a good outside post, though, too.
Yeah, there are things to like, but 4 to 5, you better. I think the problem is 4 to 5 shot. I mean, this horse does not have any exposed form, so you're absolutely saying, I'm willing to take less than a coin flip that Rick Dutrow is dramatically going to improve this horse. Well, he may, but you are not getting paid to find out.
Meanwhile, the Park Shipper Tricolor, the 5, has probably been the most consistent runner, running his races just about every single time out.
He's the overlay at 5 to 1, even though he never wins. But the horse that's favored at 4 to 5 is 1 for 25. So never wins kind of went out the window with the money in that horse.
Chris Griffin with the call. Here's the 7th from Aqueduct.
All set. And Tricolor breaks with early speed. Also right there is Ragazzo Diabolico. Ragazzo Diabolico is now a neck in front. Tricolor towards the outside, and there's Incantation, Boys Code out wider. At the rail, red cap, that's Noble Huntsman is going to join the early fray. Pretty tightly bunched here, 4 across the racetrack here as they come out of the chute. Noble Huntsman, Joey Martinez moves on through, is ready to challenge for this early lead, and here comes Noble Huntsman to the inside of Ragazzo Diabolico, and these two hook up on the far outside. Moving forward is Incantation, right there in 4th. That's Tricolor, who's still with the early leaders. As You Chase Me's in the purple silks. Boys Code, second to last, the Triller. Fake Celebrity, 23.46 for the opening quarter mile. The leader is Ragazzo Diabolico. Noble Huntsman is holding that rail position, continues to pressure this early leader. Incantation is out wider from 3rd. In behind horses, there comes Tricolor in 4th. Boys Code starts to warm up to the task towards the outside of As You Chase Me and the Triller. Fake Celebrity. Ragazzo Diabolico is now put away. Noble Huntsman, who's dropping out of it. It's Ragazzo Diabolico, who's clear by a length and a half. Right there, continuing to chase is Incantation. Now as for the effort is Tricolor. To the outside of them, a rally coming from As You Chase Me is going to be 4 wide. 5 wide is going to be Boys Code. Trying to pick it up from there. Ragazzo Diabolico at a big number is trying to run them off their feet right now. As You Chase Me continues to run after this leader and gets in closer. And here comes As You Chase Me after the leader now. As You Chase Me is now put ahead in front. Ragazzo Diabolico is trying to battle on back. Incantation is swerved to the outside. Incantation with some late momentum. As You Chase Me is in front. As You Chase Me almost there. As You Chase Me gets it. As You Chase Me in a photo, Incantation to the outside of Ragazzo Diabolico, and Boys Code finish 4th in 1 minute 40.34 seconds.
Sofia Vives on As You Chase Me, and that ought to be enough for a carryover now, 10 to 1.
Yeah, I have a friend who I respect who liked this horse, but I still can't figure out what you like about a horse whose only competitive races seem to be on wet tracks or another surface. I guess it was that kind of race, and congrats if you had him. But this is one after the race. I'm not going to sit here red board. I picked him 4th, but so what?
10 to 1, Chris Engelhardt barn. New face on this circuit, who I believe one of the very first mount on the circuit, Sofia Vives.
No, she rides well. I personally, I can't make this horse.
Tough one to find, no question. That's why the double-digit odds. And in the end, even money on the 7. Boys Code, way over bets.
Yes. The betting horses on the come at even money is a bad play, and I picked the horse, but I don't pick them when the odds are going. I thought the horse would be closer to 2 to 1 or 5 to 2.
10 to 1, over 11 to 1, over 27 to 1. Ragazzo Diabolico tried to do it on the front end, comes up short. Got a 10 to 1 upset here in the 7th. Nightcap still to come. Back at our Friday coverage of America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Pretty shots there. Snow on the ground out in Kentucky.
And as you noted, pick 6 carryover.
Indeed. It will not get hit today. This sealed the deal with As You Chase Me. Chris Engelhart, Sofia Vives, now 2 for 15. Wins it 10-1 here in the 7th. Let's go down to Mig.
Yeah, thanks, Greg, and so pleased to be joined here by Sofia. Sofia, you've made a really nice impression since you've gotten here to New York. What's the reception been like?
It's pretty good, positive. You know, keep your head up, get out there in the mornings, do your job, and in the afternoon, show up for these horses and hopefully get the business going and have an amazing agent backing me, John Panagot, and just keep digging in and see what we can do.
You know, a few weeks ago, you had a tough day. You actually had 2 falls in the same day. And what impressed me, though, is you came back 2 days later and just rode with such enthusiasm. How do you put that behind you?
You know, God was with us. Whatever happens in one race, the next race, you got to get over it. Second horse you ride, it's not their fault. So you got to have a short mind and just keep carrying on and hope you do well.
Now, you rode all north of the border all summer up in Canada, had a real good meeting there. What brought you to try New York at this time?
I had a really good reception when I went to Parks last year, and I said, you know, why not try New York instead of sit the bench this winter? And I'm plenty capable of being here and holding my spot, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, it's really great to have you here. Continued good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Guys, takes a hard work, determination, and this young lady certainly has that.
Pretty rapid rise for Sofia Vives. Won her first race in her career, November 3rd of 2022. She's become Woodbine's leading rider. She won the Sovereign Award as a top apprentice in Canada. And now she's making an impact here in New York.
Well, she's winning races, and it's nice to see, and I wish her the best of luck. Listen, the more riders we get here, especially in the winter, that ride well, the better off we are.
10-1 here. She finishes things off with As You Chase Me, 20-60 for the win. Incantation winds up second. Look at this trifecta for 50 cents. $410.
Not bad. Not bad.
And as you said, we will have, no matter what happens here, a Pick 6 carryover into Saturday on Jerome Day. $15,000 claiming sprint at 6.5 furlongs to close out our card here in New York.
And it's a fun, competitive race. I picked Mon Petit Choux, the 7, so at least I won't be a chalk-eating weasel here. I may be a ticket-eating weasel in this race, but I'll tell you this entry at 6-5, and I know you like the 1A, and I respect the 1A as well, but I just think that's way too short a price on the entry.
Shortest pick 5.
13,000.
Yeah, to the entry. Smarty Jones on the road to the Kentucky Derby coming up on our Saturday action in that terrific 3-year-old prep series they have at Oaklawn. Mile and a 16th, $250,000 purse. And 8 will line up with more on what to expect in this one tomorrow. Let's go back to Lafitte and Paul.
Hot Property, the morning line favorite, Paul, for the Smarty Jones. The connections. Look, that jumps off the pages. The fact that Brad Cox is trying to win a 4th Smarty Jones in the last 5 years. Flavien Prat is shattering records left and right. But, like, what about the colt? Hot Property, just the one start. How good do you think he is?
I think it's a really tough read when you look at him. Listen, this is a homebred for Gary and Mary West, who have been in the game for a long time. And the thing that worries me a tiny bit, he was able to get away with really soft fractions in his debut, and he went on with it. Now, he was 4.5 to 1 that day. Marcelina Pedrosa, not usually a regular rider for Brad Cox, but now he brings in his main man, Flavien Prat, to ride Hot Property. I think he's going to get the test. We'll see how good he is, obviously, tomorrow. But I don't think he's that much of a separator from the rest of this field.
On paper, nowhere near the fastest, right? An 84 Beyer speed figure for that debut. He made an easy lead, as you mentioned. He doesn't figure to make the lead. There is some pressure he'll be facing from the inside, so that's one of 2 big questions, negotiating 2 turns and how he handles pressure from the inside, and if he's good enough to rate and relax.
Yeah, Kale's Angel for Peter Miller came in here ablazing, and she blew away a field. Now, I would think on the stretch out, she will show some early speed. So, like I said, there's some other horses in there with experience. And, when your first race against winners is the Smarty Jones, that's a tough task.
Again, Brad Cox looking for a 4th in the last 5 years in these Smarty Jones, and this isn't necessarily just a stepping stone towards the Arkansas Derby or the Kentucky Derby. Historically, horses that have ran in this Smarty Jones and what they've gone on to accomplish, you know all about Mystic Dan, but Angel of Empire, eventual Arkansas Derby winner Paul, will take charge, who is a champion at Travers, Clark winner, Caleb's Posse, King's Bishop, and the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Even flat out, he raced in the Smarty Jones. All he wound up doing was taking down multiple editions of the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Yeah, listen, it's a key race. It really is. And Mystic Dan last year, it seems like it's getting better and better, right? Because the money comes to Arkansas, the better horses come to Arkansas.
$250,000 on the line. Again, those 4 prep races, $4 million total in this 3-year-old series, all leading up to the Arkansas Derby and eventually the Run for the Roses. So that's tomorrow's headliner. You see it right here on America's Day at the Races. Meantime, horses on track for the 6th race here. $35,000 maiden claimers, 3-year-old fillies, 3/4 of a mile dash. Let's meet the field. As they hit the track moments ago, High Summer, first race on a fast dirt track.
Yeah, and a hot trainer in Gennaro Garcia getting Lasix for the first time.
Dinah's Girl, Contender.
Yeah, Chris Hartman got a winner with Bejarano early on the card, gets Lasix too.
Richo, first of the 4 first-time starters.
You're going to see a lot of these horses now that they have newly turned 3 in the new year. They're all getting Lasix for the first time, a first-time starter.
Good call, Christian Torres, leading rider.
This horse been working out at Fairgrounds, and a Brad Cox runner that is dropping.
Filly is real, second of the debuting fillies.
McLean Robertson's horses have been running okay. This horse got a bullet drill at Hawthorne.
Open Flame, the New York bred.
Yeah, New York bred for Kenny McPeak, who's gotten off to another good start to this meet.
Chapter and Verse, no match for 9-link winner Lady Riley in her debut.
Yeah, but Maynard Mason caused an upset earlier in the card.
Sweet Marie, 2nd of 2 for Kenny McPeak.
Yeah, another horse that, might be a little bit better. Got a tiny bit better off the drop, but needs a break.
Class dropping Peyton's Beauty.
Probably out of her league in this spot.
Currently 25-1, Charlie Mike WSS Racing, first-time starter.
Yeah, horse they paid $42,000 for, so the $35,000 is not bad. Taking a little nibbles on the board.
Magnetic Beach, some angles to work with. Class drop, route to sprint.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Andy. This is the horse that's going to be coming late here, especially when they go route to sprint on this low of a level.
Shanae, not sure. First-time starter, drawn outside.
I will say this. I know a couple guys that were interested in claiming this horse, so I'm wondering if the 14 is a live commodity here.
At 14-1, the one of 4 fresh faces we'll see amongst these 3-year-old fillies. $35,000 maiden claimers, 6 furlong dash, who graduates in just a couple of moments here, Paulie.
Wow, this is one of those ones, right? So, I don't understand why the 3 horse is this odds right now. I thought the 3 would be a little bit better than that. I thought the race between the 2, 3, 4, and 11, that's kind of what they're betting too. It seems like in most of the will pays and stuff like that and the pick 3s. Oh, gosh. I'm going to land on the 11, Magnetic Beach, for Nicky Juarez and Ken Sweezy. I just think that, Nicky is a guy that puts horses forward, and she's a horse that, her 7 furlong race for Maiden 50 was really good at Churchill Downs. If she runs back to that race, I think she's the winner. So I'll go with her at 7-2. I do think the 3 is way overvalued or should be lower than 18-1.
What are we looking for early on? Who do you think makes the lead? Who's in front when this field hits the far turn?
Well, I think the 7's going to show some sneaky speed. I think some of the inside horses, and you never know what's going to happen with some of these first-time starters that are getting bet a little bit. Maybe Charlie Mike on the 10's getting bet a little bit. The 12, I would think the 1 maybe show some speed. We'll see what happens in here. I mean, the 1 should blast out of there. Dinah's Girl, the 2, your favorite, should stay close.
She is improving. And the hot hand of Rafael Bejarano looking for a 3rd win on the afternoon.
100%. And she probably could be sitting in the candy spot. Now, the reason why I include the 3, I just, Michael Maker's barn has been going well, and you're getting a first-time starter. Now, Good Call, that's kind of the horse I would have landed on if I didn't land on the 11 at 4-1. I just think that horse might sit a very, very good trip.
Graduation day for one of these 3-year-old fillies. 3/4 of a mile sprint and start of the late pick 5. Dinah's Girl at 2-1. Favorite here as they have reached post time. Make their way behind the starting gate. Again tomorrow, that's Smarty Jones, $250,000 purse, 21 Kentucky Derby points on the line. The first step towards the Arkansas Derby and beyond as the calendar has turned. 2-year-olds turn 3, and with the first Saturday in May off on the horizon, and those points needing to be earned to earn a spot into the Kentucky Derby starting gate. The Smarty Jones, you'll see it right here tomorrow on America's Day at the Races. First things first, this late pick 5 about to get underway at Oaklawn Park. Dinah's Girl, number 2, 5-2 at post time. Rafael Bejarano looking for a third on the afternoon. Matt Dinnerman with the load and call.
Looking to give Rafael Bejarano his 3rd win today. Sweet Marie, post 8. Rieko, post 3, and then Peyton's Beauty. Good call on the Gary and Mary West colors loading in next. Charlie Mike. Magnetic Beach. 2 back. Open Flame and Jeanette. Open Flame walking up. Goes in. Jeanette to the outside post to kick off the late pick 5, a field of 12. Sprinting 6 furlongs. Open Flame in. Waiting on Jeanette. We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful beginning. Jeanette from the far outside, prominent. Good call, has speed. Dinah's Girl in the mix as well. They come down the backstretch. Jeanette has the lead by 3/4 of a length. Good call holds the inside spot, gets to the rail, runs in 2nd. Chapter and Verse 3rd. Dinah's Girl shuffled back to 4th. She's racing alongside of Charlie Mike down the backstretch. High Summer between horses now. Sweet Marie's also in a clump of horses and just had to steady pretty hard there. Sweet Marie, Magnetic Beach, pass turn about the 5 path going into the turn, and now High Summer has to check off of heels as they round that far turn. Philly Israel, the first-time starter in midfield, already sent along. Rieko trying to get out on the far turn run, is deep on the course attempting to produce a bid. Open Flame has dropped out of it. Sweet Marie has tailed off as well, coming to the top of the lane, and now Rieko has bolted coming off the turn. Rieko swings 12 wide at least. They're down the lane, and Jeanette has fled from the pack. Jeanette keeps going, has a 4-length lead with a furlong to go. Good call in the 2nd position. Dinah's Girl down at the rail, attempts to get up into 2nd, 16th to go. Jeanette, Jane Elliott has to ask her to stay straight as she tried to duck in here, but she is clear, and Jeanette wins it. Jeanette gets it over Good Call, then Dinah's Girl, and 4th was Chapter and Verse.
The first-time starter gets loose, and there's no catching her. Jeanette steals this 6th race at Oaklawn, 17-1 at post time.
Well, the information was right. I walked in today, Greg Compton. There had to be like 3 or 4 trainers that were interested in this 12 horse for Sarah Hamilton, and Jane Elliott just took no prisoners, went right to the front end. The 4 finished nicely late, as you could tell. That she kind of didn't like the stick. You could tell her tail's flying up and down. But Jane Elliott's a capable rider and a good first-time starter here to start the late pick 5 here. Another bomb at 17-1.
She felt the crop. She's like, I got this. I got this. Jeanette. And you could see this coming at the top of the stretch while Jeanette was cruising and well within herself, and the others, you're expecting someone to loom up. They were being urged to pick up their feet and had no chance to catch this filly.
Race was over at the break.
17-1, 12, 4, 2, 7, and the 6 at Oaklawn Park. The late pick 4 on the horizon, plus the nightcap horses in the paddock at Aqueduct. That's next on America's Day at the Races.
Seize the Gray wins convincingly.
Seize the Gray. He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby.
sees the gray, is still there, sees the gray, wins the Preakness.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fastbacks, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fastbacks today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes. And Fusaichi Pegasus has taken over the lead. Fusaichi Pegasus in front. Albert the Great on the inside in second. El Corredor, the California Invader, moving up on the outside. They're inside the 16th pole. Fusaichi Pegasus by a length. El Corredor. Fusaichi Pegasus returns to the races with a win in the Jerome Mile.
That's when the Jerome was in late September, maybe the best race Fusaichi Pegasus ever ran, and Neil Drysdale at the time claimed he was a work or two short of his best.
Like a 117 or 118 buyer, yeah. Well, El Corredor was second. I don't know if people remember. It was a very good miler for Bob Baffert. Third place finisher Albert the Great. He won the Jockey Club Gold Cup against Olders, a 3-year-old, in his next start by 10 lengths after he had lost the Travers by a nose because Nick Zito took Richard Migliore off him. If Richie had ridden the Travers, he would have won that day. Fact.
That was off a 4-month layoff, by the way, in that race. Here is our post parade for the nightcap, part of the entry. Went by. Here's Trade Secret, the other half.
Yeah, I think he's the one that both you and I prefer of the entry. They're both taking money for a bar in Cantermachi. Zilke's been doing very well. Nice to see.
Railtar Funny Business, who went by, and here's the 3 Halo City.
Halo City is going to need the race to completely fall apart or to suddenly find speed she's never had before.
Hazardous Humor coming off best performance in quite some time.
Yeah, on a sloppy track, but still, she's been relatively consistent. She's a player. Off the claim for Rob Atras.
Willful Desire, Linda Rice, got this one to run big last start.
Big price on a horse who should be the controlling speed, you'd like to think, is the speed of the speed.
Mon Petit Chou has Lane Luzzy.
I got to bet. It's 6-1. I'll bet Mon Petit Chou. Seems like a good price.
Balenciaga Betty, the outside post for the 8th.
Another horse whose recent form is okay. I just worry she's a little on the slower side, but she is cutting back from mile and 1/8.
2 minutes to post. Meg, it's the entry, favored at 9-5.
Yeah, and I didn't warm to either one of them from a physical perspective. Now, we know it's not a beauty contest. It's about what you see on paper, and I like to try to match up the physicality with what I see in their form. The 5, Willful Desire, she checks the boxes. I think she's legitimate. I do think she is the main speed, but, you know, she has Eric Cancel, and Eric is not always most willing participant about allowing horse to use all their speed. If he allows her to run her race and use her speed, I think she has a really good chance. I thought that was a really nice effort last time where she stalked the pace. I think in here she could play out to be the speed of the speed. The 7, Mon Petit Chou, looks fantastic. I think she makes a little sense. Also, full disclosure, the brief time I spent in school, I did have a teacher that used to call me Mon Petit Chou. I think she was a little sweet on me, guys, but that's another story. And then the 8, Balenciaga Betty, excuse me. This is who I like. I like her physically. I think the last race maybe dirties her form up a little bit. She wanted no part of a mile and 8. She wanted no part of Allowance Company. She turns back and she gets Manny Franco, and she looks fantastic in the flesh, which most of Wayne Potts' horses make a nice physical impression. She was the one that kind of, it all came together, and that's who I like at 5-1.
Commendable.
And Mig, you were in that race, by the way. We just showed it with Fusaichi Pegasus winning the Jerome. And one of the quotes in the article I'd read was from the Mig saying, as we see a rider off here with the 4, I'm a believer after you saw that Jerome win. 4's coming out.
The 4 will be scratched in this race. Thank you for that, Greg. Coming out, that's Hazardous Humor, who's currently 5-2. Hook and Ladder was the horse that Richie rode.
Yeah.
I think he lost by like 8 or 10 lengths in there. He was a very, very good horse. And I still think, though, one of really, and Richie will agree, Richie is the one who turned Albert de Crate's career around riding him and kind of got a raw deal there. Much as it pains me to admit.
What were your thoughts of seeing Fupeg that day, Mig?
He was very impressive that day. He looked like, for a rider, he was like driving a car. You moved your hands and he moved for you. Put your hands down, he came back to you. You go back and watch his Derby, much the same. He just very, very push-button kind of horse in the race. Difficult to train, difficult in the mornings, but in the races, he was, push-button. And I agree with Andy with Albert the Great. It was 4 for 5 on him. He ran terrible in the Jim Dandy. I was taken off for honestly no good reason whatsoever. And if Nick Zito had left me on him in the Travers, he would not have lost that Travers. He always had a little bit of a tendency to want to lug in, and the rail was very deep that day. And no fault of George Chavez's. He didn't know the horse. He lugged into the deeper part of the going and just got nailed, I believe, by Unshaded. If I rode him that day, he would have been in the 4 or 5 path, and he would not have lost that Travers.
Well, it's funny. We used to handicapping seminars, the DRF at Ciro's, and with Harvey Pack. And the next day, I said on the show, and Nick Zito and I are good friends. I said Nick cost himself the Travers, taking the Mig off of that horse. I said Richie would have known the rail was bad, and he would never have gone over the rail. He lost by a nose to Unshaded. And I saw Nick not that long later at the track, and he said to me, "You're right. I would have won if I left Richie on."
Painful. This game. Here's our funny business. So big, it's a big scratch. Hazardous Humor was a major player in here. 4 comes out. And with that, still the entry favorite at 6-5. But there's still several other ways to go in here.
Yeah, and one thing I would say about the scratch, while I agree it takes a player out of the race, that horse did not possess any speed. So I don't think it's a scratch that rates to affect the dynamics of the race. I'm going to stick with the 7 at the price. I think the 5's been an overlay. And I know you like the 1A, but I don't think you ever imagined they'd be this short.
No, and I'm surprised, too. Balenciaga Betty, the 8, taking this much money?
I'm a little surprised. It's a lot of money for a horse. The cutback in distance helps. Maybe it's a Wayne Potts thing, dropping back down. Her wins, though, are a little bit on the slower side, but she's obviously not impossible.
Pick 6 carryover. We know pick 5s, though, can be tremendous. If you're alive, we wish you the best. Finale on this card from New York with plenty more to come from Oaklawn. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Here's a...
Goes in. All set. And they're off. Jackie the Joker right out to the front. It's Jackie the Joker. Trade Secrets in that early mix. Out wider comes Willful Desire to join them. Also in the early fray is Mon Petit Choux. That's the leading quartet. And at the rail, that's Our Funny Business. Tracking in 6th now. Moving forward, Balenciaga Betty. Up on the far outside is Wait, Don't Tell Me. And the trailer, Halo City. They work out the backstretch, and Jackie the Joker is in front. Willful Desire is tracking from 2nd. At the rail, there's Trade Secret is now a shared 3rd. Out wider shoved along is Mon Petit Choux and Lane Luzzy. Less than 4 furlongs to travel. Balenciaga Betty is now secured 5th, is in between rivals. At the rail is Our Funny Business, trying to keep up, and here comes Wait, Don't Tell Me. The trailer, still Halo City. They're well into the far turn now, and it's still Jackie the Joker controlling the tempo. Jackie the Joker is up by a neck. Willful Desire is ranging up on the outside. All in is Trade Secret. Also, Mon Petit Choux is trying to make up some ground from 3rd. In between horses, Balenciaga Betty and Wait, Don't Tell Me. The battle continues up front now. It's Jackie the Joker, but Willful Desire is now pushed on by. Willful Desire is up by a full length, and Willful Desire is now sprinting clear. A final furlong to go. Willful Desire right there, Jackie the Joker. Trade Secret, a late run here from Our Funny Business, but a 16th left to go. Willful Desire and a red-hot Linda Rice training the 5. Willful Desire wins the finale. Willful Desire over Jackie the Joker. Trade Secret. Then came a 3-way photo. That was Halo City. In between horses, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and Our Funny Business in 1 minute 20 seconds flat.
Willful Desire moves to the Linda Rice barn, and now back-to-back victories, and this with a slight jump up in class off that last win.
Everybody wants to be a wise guy, and she ends up at 7-2 in this race. And not the speed, but stalking the one who went the lead, not really expecting that horse, Jackie the Joker, in front. She was in front, but she was no match for for the 5. Willful Desire was just much the best. And that's 2 wins for Eric Cancel today, and Linda Rice is just unstoppable at this point. Not all super short prices.
Except probably the one horse on the day everyone expected her to win with did not win in Bold Endeavor.
Yeah.
But still a very productive day. Willful Desire, the win at 7-2 to close it out. Entry runs 2-3 crossing the wire. But another upset of a 6-5 favorite in this finale. And this is, again, going to be a very nice late pick 5.
And a pick 6 carryover, just over $18,000 into Saturday's card. And Saturday and Sunday's cards pick up quite a bit. They're solid.
And nice to have a carryover on a day in which 3-year-olds are featured. You have a Derby Trail prep, little extra intrigue.
I feel like that's a fairly wide open race, the Jerome. I don't think there's anybody in there you can say this horse is way the horse to beat.
Willful Desire with the win to close things out. We'll have the prices when we come back. A lot more coming up from Oaklawn. Say goodbye to this guy right here.
And even better for you, the MIG is coming. So you'll be able to see the MIG in a few moments. But the good news is you'll get a full 3 hours of me the next 2 days. So you'll have plenty of time to be sick of me.
Never. Enjoy the rest of your night. We're going to keep on. More coming up. A lot more ahead from Oaklawn and more previews ahead of some of these big races over the weekend. Linda Rice, big Friday afternoon. Had a potential star running yesterday. The first Derby preps, they are ready to roll on our Saturday coverage with Smarty Jones and the Jerome. Previews to come. Stay with us.
behind the gates of Hillendale Farm at Alapa, you can find a cabin-like 5,000 square foot home called the Treehouse. It's a new one-of-a-kind getaway destination located in the heart of horse country. The home offers hewn beams, flooring made from lumber harvested from Maker's Mark's original rickhouse. A room with vintage horse saddles, the collection includes one that belonged to the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. You can enjoy a drink or a meal on the back screened porch or one of 4 decks that overlook the tranquil Stoner Creek. Upon request, reservations can be purchased to experience an inside look of a working thoroughbred farm with a tour of Hillendale. The Treehouse now offers a unique place to stay on the grounds that house the famed Kentucky Stallion Station and Thoroughbred Nursery of Hillendale at Alapa.
Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Majestic grounds. Wouldn't mind doing the show live from there one day. Joining me on set, the MIG, who's been roaming the grounds outside, now inside in the warm weather. Good to see you.
Yeah, a bit warmer here. Good to see you as well. Happy New Year to you and everybody out there as well. Healthy, happy, prosperous New Year for everybody. Hope you're picking winners.
It's been tough to do on this card this afternoon. As a result, we have a pick 6 carryover heading into Jerome Day on Saturday. Linda Rice does not win with Bold Endeavor, who was 3-5. Still has 3 wins on the Friday card.
Yeah, this filly looked good in the paddock. She comes off a nice win, 2 for 2 now with Linda Rice as her conditioner, and she just drew off as much the best here.
Takes off. I mean, really moved to her barn last start, improved on a slight drop down, won easily that day, wins easily again. So now 7 wins from 23 starts and 2 for 2 since moving to Linda Rice. Eric Canstel with a couple of wins on this card. But yeah, this was never in question, this performance, and you get 7-2.
You know, and I like Eric stayed out of her way. He allowed her to run her race. Now, one of the entry was a little bit faster, but she was well drawn outside potential other speeds, and he allowed her to use her stride to get into the race the right way. And sometimes a rider has to know when to be the pilot and when to be the passenger. And when you have a horse that has natural speed, be a passenger. Let them use that speed. Speed is dangerous. I don't know if other people have noticed that.
Starting to learn on the East Coast, right? Certainly on the West Coast.
Starting to catch up. West Coast, yeah. And that's why you'll see the pace of their races is faster. Also, the style of training is different. They train harder out there because horses have to run more of the race. You see a lot of trainers in New York, they go off easy, and they always want to finish the last quarter of a mile. In California, they work the entire work because they run the entire race.
Meanwhile, not wasting any time, rolling right. We just turned the page to 2025. Here we go on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Begins tomorrow with the Jerome from here in New York and then the Smarty Jones, part of that terrific 3-year-old series on the road to that first Saturday in May from Hot Springs. With more on what to expect from that one on Saturday, let's go to Lafitte & Company.
Yeah, the Smarty Jones tomorrow afternoon, and always exciting turning the calendar. The 2-year-olds becoming 3 in that march towards the first Saturday in May. Paul, we had a chance to look at Hot Property, who is the morning line favorite for the Smarty Jones, and just his 2nd career start tomorrow afternoon. An edge in experience to the colt drawn to the far outside, Cole Battle. This will be his 6th career start, a perfect 3 for 3 on dirt.
The most experienced, and I think the horse to beat. You can say whatever you want about the Brad Cox runner, but when you have a horse that's won going 5.5 furlongs at Evangeline, didn't disgrace himself at all at Kentucky Downs over the turf, then went back to Delta Downs, then won the Springboard Mile here, running down Speed King. This is a serious racehorse. Now, Lonnie Briley's had a win at this meet. This horse is still a little bit green, still trying to figure things out. And again, when you run well over so many different surfaces, you have quality.
Yeah, he was late switching leads. He's doing a lot of things wrong. He's making mistakes. He was lugging in. You could see the rider really tugging on that right rein. All right, so mistakes he's making, but still winning races, winning the Jean Lafitte, winning the Springboard Mile. So once he puts it all together, like, look out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. He's a son of Coal Front. Coal Front stands for $2,000 out of a midshipman mare. You just got to throw the pedigree out when you have a horse like this. He could just, one of those type of horses that can just do anything. And is he bred to run on the turf? No, but he almost ran a giant race at Kentucky Downs. Like, this horse is just a runner, and I just do feel that he should be the one to be considering his experience.
Cold battle 9-2 on the morning line tomorrow. Smarty Jones with 21 Kentucky Derby points on the line and a $250,000 purse. Again, you'll see that right here on America's Day at the Races. Along with this upcoming 7th race here at Oaklawn Park, start of the late pick 4. Take a look at the field and corresponding odds. $15,000 claiming sprint, 3/4 of a mile, as the field made their way front side here just moments ago. Post parade starting with Wind of Change, the 10-year-old lifetime start number 40.
Yeah, he can get a Grand Slam breakfast for pretty much nothing now at age 10, but one of the players in here.
Christian Torres riding in the 2 Lemon Drop, shot deep closing winner 2 weeks ago.
Needs a lot of speed, and there is some speed in this race. I can see the 2 closing up.
Number 3, Fever Nation, was sharp before hitting the sideline 2 months ago.
Yeah, this one for Steve Manley and Julian Leperoux.
Currently 23-1, long shot side by side. Lightning Struck, first or second in 17 of 41 lifetime.
Yeah, horse coming in from New Mexico, so she gets some of that air in her.
Warp Ride, number 5, Canadian 8-year-old.
Yeah, Canadian 8-year-old. It didn't run that well last time, but at least was forward.
Atomic Tone, the favorite, 10-time winner, second start of the meet.
Yeah, 10-time winner, and does probably get a good trip in here. Probably sit in that second flight.
Super Brady just missed at Remington in his latest.
Yeah, he did. He was really close, and he's got a lot of second-place finishes, but he's 17 for 30 in the exacta.
Hey, Eugene. Francisco Arrieta aboard.
More speed to the party, claimed at the Mike Maker barn.
I'm No Joke, contender who's rattled off 2 straight.
Yeah, and I think this one for End Zone Athletics, hot trainer. I don't know if this horse needs the lead, but can rate here. You're getting a good price at 4-1.
Solardi is out. Zappinit is in, winless in 10 starts last year.
Another horse that does have a little bit of pace to him.
And finally, Fire Brian towards the outside, 1 for 10 in 2024.
Yeah, it hasn't been seen since September. You get up Alberto Pusac in the irons, and a horse that can come from way out of it. So if you're looking for somebody maybe underneath, the 12 could be a horse that can maybe rally underneath.
Late pick 4 starts here. First leg of the late pick 5, we saw a 17-1 shot, $15,000 claimer, 6 furlong dash. And circling back to I'm No Joke, number 9, currently 7-2. And arrives with momentum, 2 straight wins. His most recent, mid-November, Remington, Paul, and I'm No Joke, showing some grit and moxie battling up front in this one.
Well, that's what we've seen from this Isabella Ramirez Rodriguez barn. Now, he's taken over the training for End Zone Athletics. They claimed this horse for 20, and you can see, okay, slow pace, but they finished up strong. And, you know, Harry Hernandez, very handy rider, not kind of a send rider. That's why I think that he doesn't really need to send the 9, but this horse has got a lot of like grind, and it seems like entering into this barn that these horses got a lot of grit too. He's had a couple horses come back as well. So I think the 9 of all the speed horses might be able to put them all away. Can he win, you know, the battle? Does he win the war at the end? Because the 6 will be coming in some other horses.
I loved how he won the race. You know, at this level, you don't associate the lower level claiming races with class. But I'm No Joke, all right, so he's not a graded stakes type of racehorse. He's not the fastest horse on the backside here, but if you push him, he's going to shove you right back. And again, one of those races where a little will go a long way.
Yeah, and then you got to love this horse gets out of the condition and he drops for 15. So this is a reasonable drop here for 15 because this is open now. This is like, you know, this is non-winners. If you could say for a lifetime, it isn't because there's some horses here. So now you're going into open company. You cleared that non-3 condition, and now you have to enter this condition. So the 15,000 is about logical.
About number 6, Atomic Tone. Some of these war horses, these veterans that we'll see in these races. A 6-year-old gelding, his 28th lifetime start, and a 10-time winner coming in, Paulie.
Yeah, and he's a horse that, you know, the gate sometimes can be his Achilles heel and he gets left, but he'll always come running. And it seems like when he breaks well, his better races were at Monmouth. And you wonder, like, he hasn't had a break. That's my worry about the 6. But fitness and having races coming into this meet have been good. So he ran well last time out. It just wasn't enough. He was wide most of the way. He's going to get a better setup here.
This is a war. These grizzled veterans. Who'd you wind up with?
I wound up on the 9. Listen, like I told you, I like 6-9 in here. I'm no joke. I'm going to stick with that barn. I do think Atomic Tone gets a great setup in here. Those were the 2 horses I used.
5-2, the current favorite.
I mean, my one worry, I get it with the 1. The 1 has races to go to, but it's really hard for me to play a 10-year-old.
What about a 10-year-old with Christian Torres aboard?
Yeah, I get it. It's Christian Torres, the trainer Michael Hewitt's 0 for 10 on the meet, but if he can reach back, his last win was over a sloppy racetrack. He's got to reach back to somebody. When he was 9, he was winning some races. I get it. He still can win, but at age 10, I'll take the younger horses.
11-time winner. He's banked $340,000 the hard way. Wind of change as they make their way behind the starting gate. Start of the late pick 4 here. A $15,000 claiming sprint on the eve of tomorrow's Smarty Jones. 3-year-olds taking center stage. Final check of the tote board here before the load process begins. 5-2 on number 9. And I'm no joke with Harry Hernandez. Harry Hernandez, who you touted a while back as a rider that's always impressed you. Watched him win the first race on the program today, seeking a second with I'm no joke.
Yeah, Scott Stevens, legendary rider, the older brother of Gary Stevens, who had the record at Turf Paradise. Harry Hernandez was trying to break all of his records while Scott was his agent. Now Cody Autry is representing Harry Hernandez and cut his teeth there, went to Minnesota. This kid can flat out ride.
Aboard I'm no joke for his last win at Remington and trying to strike here at Oaklawn Park. 5-2 at post time. Start of the late pick 4, race 7. Matt Ditterman with the load and call. It's post time.
Gene. Warp Ride in the Bruno Schickendans racing colors. I'm no joke. Post position number 9 goes in. 2 back, zapping it. And then to the outside post, Fire Brian. Zapping it goes in. Fire Brian to round out the field of 11 as we kick off the late pick 4 here. We're ready to go. And we're off. Warp Ride in the middle of the pack shoots to the lead. Super Brady taking the second position with Lightning Struck, who's also there. Zapping it is deep on the course, claiming second from all of them. Fever Nation moving up and is aggressively ridden to get close to the pace. Warp Ride being swarmed on both sides. Fever Nation inside. Zapping it is outside. Those 3 across the track as they hit the half-mile pole. They lead by a length and a half from Wind of Change. Lightning Struck to the outside of him. Super Brady is 3 deep. 4 off the lead now, sailing into the turn. Hey Eugene behind horses. I'm no joke alongside. Then Atomic Tone shaken up in the second last position with Fire Brian. And Lemon Drop Shot can see them all. Attempts to get rolling from the back and is getting closer. Around the far turn, Fever Nation with a head lead. Lightning Struck ready to go. Tips outside, claims second from Warp Ride in the 3-path who weakens. Top of the lane here. And Lightning Struck is in front. Lightning Struck. Fever Nation to the inside attempting to fight back. And third is Super Brady. I'm no joke is rolling down the center of the track. Has 4 lengths to gain on Lightning Struck, who hits the 16th pole clearly ahead. Wind of Change coming on the scene for second, and Lemon Drop Shot from a mile behind continues a sustained run, but Lightning Struck does it at odds of 32-1. Wind of Change second, Lemon Drop Shot. I'm no joke, we're next.
Aptly named Gelding, Lightning Struck. So we kicked off the late pick 5 with a 17-1 shot, Paul, and now Lightning Struck strikes at 32-1.
Yeah, good job here by Martin Schwann and I Green having this horse ready. And listen, I said this horse coming in from New Mexico. He got that New Mexico air in him, and boy, oh boy, he did not stop and just kept on going. I mean, there was just nobody coming. I'm no joke, got caught way behind. There was just too much speed in this race for everybody else. And I'll tell you what, the 10-year-old ran well again. And if you had this trifecta, you're going to get paid handsomely again. If you're alive in these pick 4s and pick 5s, It's always fun here at Oaklawn Park.
The old thin air from New Mexico play, huh?
Hey, listen, and here's the other thing. He was at Arapahoe, which is Colorado. He was even at a higher altitude. This horse has been breathing and been training with the Army up in the hills.
He was ready. And now first or second in 18 of 42 lifetime. The 6-year-old gelding Lightning Struck 4-1-2-9. Wow. Bombs away in the 7th race at Oaklawn Park. Of course, back in the winter of spring of 2004, it wasn't bombs away with Smarty Jones. We had an idea of how good he was and just kept getting better and better and winning Derby prep after Derby prep. From Oaklawn Park and eventually to New York, the story of Smarty Jones, next on America's Day at the Races.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his Forgo, also running a 112 buyer. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day of the Races. And the numbers keep rolling in. Lightning does strike at Oaklawn. Lightning Struck. $66 winner with this one for Ike Green. Martin Schwann aboard for the victory.
Yeah, always poised in a good spot forward. I like to be forward with lower level type horses, and this horse kept finding. I love that angle Paul talked about, the air in New Mexico. Horse having more air, and this horse certainly kept finding air. And how about the effort from the runner-up, the one Wind of Change, a 10-year-old who wouldn't even be allowed to race in our jurisdiction. Nice effort from him with Christian Torres, but Lightning Struck. He had the race put away by the 16th pole with Martin Schwann aboard.
8th career win for the 6-year-old. That's by about a length and a half in the end. Convincing at a huge number. 50-cent pick 3, over $1,000. Pretty incredible. With 3 legs remaining, it gives you a good idea. I mean, this pick 5 is just going to be massive. There may be a chance it carries. We will see. This 8th race up next. 6 furlong sprint, restricted maiden special weight. So it's 3-year-old fillies who sold or RNA'd for $75,000 or less in that last sale.
Yeah, and we've got a filly, Indy Bay, your morning line favorite, 4-1 right now. A lot of the money going to 2, Complex Secret from the Kenny McPeak barn.
Yeah, those two in a rematch. Indy Bay finished just ahead of Complex Secret. It was Indy Bay's debut, so it would seem a little more upside there. That 4-1 should be coming down. Well, from humble beginnings as a Pennsylvania bred, debuting at Parks to the grand stage of the Triple Crown, Smarty Jones galloped his way into America's hearts. But his meteoric rise transcended the sport. It was as much a story about hope, determination, and the dream of greatness as it was about horse racing.
We bought his mother. Smarty was her second foal. He was small.
I wasn't impressed. When he stepped off the van, I was actually there, and they had sent 2 horses. The second horse was actually what I thought was the better looking of the 2 horses. I thought right away, oh, that must be Smarty Jones, and I was wrong. It didn't take him long to show us he had some talent. How much he had, we weren't sure yet.
Second race was the Pennsylvania Nursery Stakes. He won by 15 lengths.
You know, when I first rode the horse, I didn't know anything about him. I rode a lot of horses for John Service, and he broke really good, and I thought he was going too fast. I was hoping that he wouldn't stop, and he didn't.
So his third start was in the Count Fleet.
We knew that if we could get him to settle and relax and, you know, bottle up that speed, that he could really be something, which he was.
Smarty Jones will roll home at 2-5.
And he passed with flying colors. And that was the race that I talked to Mr. and Mrs. Chapman about, possibly maybe putting him on the Derby trail.
My husband said, John, what are we going to do now? And John said, well, I think we're going to go to Arkansas. And my husband said, Arkansas.
And I go, I understand, Chappie, but I think this is the best route. So that's what we did. I love the fact that the races extended in distance with every race. You know, the Southwest being a mile, and then the Rebel being a mile and 16th, and the Arkansas Derby being a mile and 1/8, leading into the Kentucky Derby at a mile and 1/4, I thought was great.
Smarty Jones continues undefeated, wins the Southwest by 3/4.
And I knew right then, I said, well, that answered the heart question. You know, he definitely has the heart. And, you know, he'll be a lot stronger next time.
Smarty Jones in full stride and pulling away. He's one step closer to $5 million.
Well, there was a little pressure on us going into the Arkansas Derby because to be eligible for the Derby, the Rebel and the Southwest weren't graded. And I told Chappie, I said, you know, if he's 1-2, it gets him in the Derby. If he's not 1-2, we're probably not going to point for the Derby anyway.
Here they come into the stretch of the Arkansas Derby, and it is Smarty Jones who takes command and draws clear by 3 lengths.
The term Smarty Party was when we were racing at Oaklawn Park. If Smarty wins, there will be one huge Smarty Party. Everybody will be celebrating.
Oaklawn, they really loved that horse. It just seemed like everybody loved that horse no matter where he went.
They loved him at Oaklawn, and we loved being at Oaklawn. We had so much fun out there.
It was a cool time in horse racing. He really became one of the big stories in all of sports. Really just captured the imagination of the entire country with that bid to become the first Triple Crown winner since Affirmed.
Well, everybody likes an underdog, and he was in some respects, right? A Pennsylvania bred, a horse that, you know, lower level connections up to that point. John Service, obviously a tremendous horse trainer, and his rider, Stuart Elliott, but they hadn't been on the national or major stage yet. And I remember when Smarty Jones came to New York for his 3rd start in the Count Fleet Stakes. He stumbled at the break. He still won by 5 lengths. I was 3rd on a horse for Anthony Dutro. And he ran about 5 seconds faster than older horses had earlier in the card, the same distance. He won by 5. The second horse was 2nd by 6. And I knew that day, I said, this is a legit kind of horse. And then he went on to do what he did. Really an incredible run and a lot of fun. And I loved how the fans took to him. You know, I think, you know, people look at horse racing, oh, the sport of kings, and a horse has got to be super expensive and come from these elite places. And he came from, you said it best when you introduced the feature, humbler beginnings.
Yeah. From the get-go, guys, I mean, he was sensational, favored in every single start of his career. And really, it'd been such a long time that we had a Triple Crown winner back in 1978, and looked like he might be the one to do it.
He was the first undefeated Kentucky Derby winner since Seattle Slew. It was the catchy name, that massive following. Paul, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think back on the career of Smarty Jones?
Well, it's connections, right? Stuart Elliott and everything that went on with it. And I think a lot of people don't realize that Smarty Jones was such a superior athlete. You know, his only loss was in the Belmont, okay? He never lost a workout in the morning Let me repeat that again. He had a bullet drill every time he went to the track in the morning. So a horse that never, ever refused to lose in the morning or in the afternoon until those final strides. And you hear it every once in a while in my dreams. I hear Durkin just say Birdstone. You know what I mean?
Exactly how all of us felt watching
Yes.
is exactly how Durkin expressed it.
Yeah.
And Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. And while run down late, Valiant in defeat, Smarty Jones. I think back to that moment in the Preakness. I was a big Rock Hard 10 fan. Another great Durkin call he sang, and Rock Hard 10 is uncoiling that massive stride. And while Rock Hard 10 is uncoiling that massive stride, I go back to look at where I think Smarty Jones should be, and he was about 3 lengths already ahead, having darted away and left that Preakness field in his wake.
I will say this. That was one of the few times I'll never forget. We were playing the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I had went to Turf Paradise, of course, to go play the race before. And it might have been the first time I really, truly cried when he got passed. It was one of those things where it was really emotional. We were waiting for that Triple Crown winner. It was such a great story. Stuart Elliott and everything. And when he got passed, it was just like, and it didn't affect me any kind of monetary-wise or anything. It's just like, as a fan, my gut sort of just dropped because I just felt for Smarty Jones.
Just as a horse racing, fan, and still so beloved, still here, where it all started. Of course, he did make his first start, as Richie mentioned, in New York that season, but the damage he did here at Oaklawn Park, and tomorrow, believe it or not, 21 years now since Smarty Jones was doing his thing, guys, the 18th running of the Smarty Jones here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Thanks you too. A really well done story too, put together by our crew behind the scenes. Love to see that every single time. It seems like we pick out something new about it.
Oh, it's great. And I really think that Smarty Jones had a big say in how this series at Oaklawn has become as popular as it has. Now, obviously, the huge purses, they put up the money. But I think he was a horse that really showed people that this was a real viable way with the comprehensive series of races to get to the Kentucky Derby. It's a shame he lost the Belmont. I remember when Eddington fell away down the backstretch, Stuart Elliott had stayed off the rail with Smarty Jones, and that's when Rock Hard 10 came up on his inside, and it kept him in the bit because he was a competitive horse, so he was always going to pull a little bit. And if Stuart had maybe dropped to the rail, Rock Hard 10 would have been stuck behind him. He would have got a good breather around the turn, and the rail was golden at Belmont that day. I wound up winning the last race of the day on a horse for Barry Short's Bogota Bill, wire to wire on the rail, and a lot of horses were running well on the rail. You know, that's one of those woulda, coulda, shouldas. You wish you had it back to do over, but a sensational talent, 3/4 of a length away from being a Triple Crown winner.
And someone who doesn't have that kind of knowledge riding at this racetrack regularly can bite you a little bit.
Well, you know, Belmont for years had the reputation of being an outside track, the Belmont balcony move. And it's just not the case. I mean, it's a track that can be fair. You can identify pretty quickly when, you know, speed isn't doing well or the rail's not well, but that wasn't one of those days. And a lot of riders come to New York with that misperception that, you know, the rail's always bad at Belmont. It hadn't been for a number of years by then, and it hasn't been for the years since.
And, yeah, we talked about only one defeat in his career. It was the Belmont. Unfortunately, it didn't happen with that Triple Crown, but still in defeat, still ran a tremendous race. Just a horse we will never forget.
All the horses that took shots at him early and kept him honest were well up the track. He was the last man standing. I got permission from the stewards, Greg, to go watch it upstairs. I said, if there's going to be a Triple Crown winner, I'm not watching it from the jockey's room in the basement of Belmont. Me and my son Joseph were standing right by the finish line on the turf course. And when they turned for home, I turned to my son, because here I am, I'm going to get to watch a Triple Crown winner with my son. I had been there for Affirmed. I had been there for Seattle Slew. And then all of a sudden, here comes Little Birdstone grinding away. Now, and Birdstone was a good horse. People should remember. He won the Champagne, he won the Belmont, and he won the Travers. Those are 3 very prestigious and big races to win.
And I know you didn't get to see it that day with your son, but you did get to see another Triple Crown with me watching it when American Pharoah won.
American Pharoah. And I had been there for the last one in Affirmed, and I got it to be there with you. And I remember I actually got emotional that day. It was like a lot of freeze frames of all the racing that I had witnessed in all that time.
Never heard a place so loud as when that happened. We're going to take a timeout. We got more to come from Oaklawn. We've seen some monster prices so far. What will happen in the final 3? Kenny McPeak, Major momentum, and yes, continuing into the new year, and a superstar filly has a date in Hot Springs in April. Stay with us. Back with you on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Thanks for being with us. Race 8 at Oaklawn. 5 minutes away from a restricted maiden special weight to come as I'll try and get that first win of their career coming up. 6 furlong sprints. $75,000 purse. And the rematch we talked about between the two, Complex Secret for Kenny McPeek. More experienced of the two. And Indy Bay, who finished just ahead of her in that debut for Indy Bay. We'll see what we get from start number 2. We start with Moon over Choctaw.
Has to get away from the gate clean. Both starts, one on turf, one on dirt. Not the best beginnings.
So here is Kenny McPeek's Complex Secret.
Good speed, but was outrun late by Indy Bay, and Indy Bay has a race under her belt now.
Emmeline, start number 2.
New York bred at Oaklawn Park making her second start. Probably would appreciate New York bred company.
Is Carrie's Kiss for Burl McBride.
Comes out of that same race with Complex Secret and Indy Bay. Didn't run badly, has to improve a bit.
Yeah, ran better than the 73-1 odds. You would have thought. Spot Away, first-time starter.
Yeah, first-time starter. Good Juddmonte pedigree on the female side, but not a win-early pedigree.
Order Restored for John Ortiz debuts.
Half to Bye Bye Liam won at Oaklawn last year. Actually ran in the Advent Stakes.
Surprising. With 4 minutes a post, this is the price you're getting on Indy Bay. I thought someone would be favored.
This is who I like. And the granddaughter of Harmony Lodge, a filly I won the Ballerina on.
Belvedere Club, first-time starter for Lindsay Schultz.
Yeah, not taking much money and not a pedigree that wins early.
And another John Ortiz first-time starter outside.
Yeah, good steady work, Tab, but another horse not taking a tremendous amount of money with that outside post.
And Maddie and Lizzie's honor Lasix for the debut. So 4 minutes away from this 8th, and Indy Bay, lock it in if you can get 7-2, guys.
How surprising. is that? Complex Secret at 8-5 and Indy Bay up there at 7-2.
It's surprising. I think there's just a lot of buzz on a couple other horses in here, and that's the reason why you're getting 7-2 on Indy Bay. I think that's going to come down. Tom Vance is a very, very good conditioner, and a race under the belt does help. But obviously, the word's out on the 5 Spot Away. The horse looked great on the racetrack for Ron Moquett from 15-1 down to 7-2. Now, I did find out that Rafael Bejarano got this ride. Now, Ricardo Santana was originally listed. He took them out on the 6, and I thought the 6 for a first-time starter looked good in the post-parade.
10-1, order restored. Let's circle back to the favorites, though. And Indy Bay, for her, this was her debut, December 13th, right here, and the first time, naturally, her first race. But she met Complex Secret on that afternoon, finished ahead of Complex Secret. Indy Bay showing good tactical speed. She tires a little late, but a lot to build on, given this effort in her debut.
Yeah, and I think the rider change has a little bit to do. When I talked to Tom after the race, the horse broke so sharply, he had thought that maybe Keith should have went to the front and just seized command of the race, and he kind of did, and he sat 3 wide and battled. Now he's got Christian Torres aboard, and I'm thinking that they're going to be on the full send here. I thought this 3-year-old filly ran really well first time out, considering she was wide most of the way around the track.
Indy Bay, number 7, 3-1, and for Complex Secret for her, she is 9-5. What's the key for her this afternoon to break through for Kenny McPeek and graduate in her 5th career start? What needs to go different today?
A lot of Kenny McPeek horses are horses that lay back and make one run. She's been kind of a speed type, and she got caught on the rail last time. She's run against some good runners. I'm wondering, do they change tactics or do they not? Because if you look, she does have the best numbers in here, and maybe, like we said, with all these horses now turning 3, getting Lasix might help.
You touched on order restored, the first-time starter, number 6 at 11-1 with Ricardo Santana. Kind of a wacky afternoon. In this late pick 5, you had the 17-1 first-time starter in the 6th race. You had a 33, 34-1 shot in the 7th race. So I don't want to suggest it's a 2-filly race. Who else is poised to potentially shake things up even further on this Friday program at Oaklawn?
Well, I just hate leaving Randy Morse out of anything. I mean, the guy's just a phenomenal trainer, and when he comes down here, he means business. So the one with Tyler Bacon, I think is a sneaky player in here. And then when you get to race 9, good luck. I mean, race 9 and race 10, race 9 is really tough. Race 10, maybe you might be able to narrow down, but I'm kind of with Greg. This could be looking at a pick 5 carryover if we keep on getting prices. And the 2 and the 7 here, are they beatable? They are, because these races here, you just don't know.
And how live number 5 Spot Away is for trainer Ron Moquett, the first-time starter by Daredevil Precocity. Spot Away, who opened up at 15-1, 5-2 at post time. Rafael Bejarano already 2 wins on the afternoon.
Yeah, Spot Away, if you look, has got 2 very fast works early in her form cycle when she was starting to get ready for this race. That last work out of the gate, is it concerning a little bit, or is it just one of those, okay, get around the racetrack? I'm a little bit worried with her braking, but gosh, she keeps taking money. She's down to 2-1, and she is $10 away from being the favorite.
Back to Greg and Richie, New York.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, that is serious money now on Spot Away for this debut for Ron Moquett, no question. Taking all this money, too, into the teeth of, look, 2 who ran very good in Complex Secret and Indy Bay when they met back on December 13th.
Yeah, but the money's meaningful. Obviously, that she's impressed people in the mornings. I see what Paul's saying, too, about the slow gate works. But a lot of times what a trainer will do is have a rider pop a horse out of the gate. You want them to break sharp, and then just let them go, cruise. They'll kind of basically work a quarter, and then they'll give them a half-mile time because of the gallop out. More of a turf pedigree on the female side, good Juddmonte family. The mare has produced winners, but nothing that has won on debut. But it is interesting, all the money she's taking. The 7 Indy Bay now down to 5-2. She doesn't add Lasix, which Complex Secret does, which I find interesting. 2-year-olds don't race on Lasix. Now they've all turned officially 3 on New Year's Day. And they chose not, Tom Vance with Indy Bay, to put her on Lasix, which I applaud. If a horse doesn't need it, why use it?
And again, just a little surprising that Complex Secret has had these chances now. and beaten favorite each of the last 2 starts, and finished behind Indy Bay in the debut, who ran very good. It just seems like there's more upside with Indy Bay, but she's not favored right now.
Well, you would think with that race under her belt, she'd be a bit fitter. She did everything very professionally on debut. She broke extremely sharp, and she is a big filly by Take Charge Indy. And usually big horses, they better after a start, and she looks like she's holding her composure well. That's something to always look at. After a horse makes their first start, how do they react to that start? Is it a start that shook them up, or they handled it well? And appearing on TV, she's handled it extremely well.
So the 2, the 5, the 7, all very close in the wagering, but it is Complex Secret for Kenny McPeek. He'll have Torpedo Anna in the Apple Blossom much later in the meet. She looks like she could be our horse of the year. We'll wait and see in
She's
less than
gotta
a
be
month's
horse of the
time.
year, no?
You would think.
She was the most consistent performer all year.
McPeek's Complex Secret, the 2. 2-1 favorite with Julian Leparoux, the rematch, I should say, with the 7 Indy Bay. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
Maddie and Lizzie's Honor goes forward. We're ready to go. One of them acting up in the gate, Carrie's Kiss in post position 4. Settling down. And Laroff. Good beginning from Order Restored out for the lead. Indy Bay right alongside, taking back to second and pressing the issue. Order Restored the leader, 3/4 of a length from Indy Bay in the second position. Spot Away was a little slow out of the gate, has made up ground, moves up third, and shows plenty of speed in this first quarter mile or so, is moving up to come and challenge those front runners. Spot Away very aggressive and quick here as they hit the half-mile pole. Complex Secret right off the leading trio in fourth, 3 off the pace, a gap of 2 to Carrie's Kiss going into the far turn. Belvedere Club is next with Moon over Choctaw. Emmeline is second to last, and Maddie and Lizzie's Honor has been outrun well behind as they round the far turn. Spot Away giving way. It was not her day today. Order Restored on the lead with Indy Bay. It appears Indy Bay is going better than Order Restored, who's shake it up. Indy Bay going to the front from Order Restored, who cuts the corner, attempts to keep up. Indy Bay, about a furlong left to go here as a head lead. Now it's a half length. Order Restored is trying. Complex Secret still third, gaining a little bit of ground here on Indy Bay, who hits the 16th pole with a 2-length edge. Complex Secret, though, is coming charging fast, and Complex Secret going to the front. Well timed by Julian Leparoux to win it. Indy Bay second. Order Restored checks in third. Moon over Choctaw fourth.
Beautifully timed ride, Julian Leparoux. Complex Secret picks off Indy Bay in the shadow of the wire.
Yeah, and listen, got assisted a little bit. Spot Away, the horse that was taking all the money, got left, but we were telling you that Ricardo Santana went to Order Restored. He cut out all the fractions, and a great job here by Christian Torres to take over with Indy Bay, but just looming. And I wonder if Indy Bay, when he hit the front Lafitte, was he waiting on horses? But then again, the 2 is moving pretty quick to the wire.
Leparoux has Complex Secret in high gear, and right here you can tell she has her measure. Yeah, I thought Indy Bay, she fought. She had to tackle Order Restored, perhaps engaging her a little bit earlier than Santana or Torres would have liked. Maybe that took some of the starch out of Indy Bay. Regardless, a big effort from Complex Secret and a perfectly timed ride from Julian Leparoux.
Yeah, and again, what did we talk about? A change of tactics for this horse. Never really far off the pace, but was like about 4th or 5th, and finally was able to prove that she can pass horses, and maybe that's the key from now on. She can just settle instead of going towards the front end. This was pretty big to run down the 7 in here. I think the 7's a nice little filly.
Back Racing LLC, McPeek, Leparoux, Greg team up. Complex Secret, the favorite, delivers in the 8th at Oaklawn.
It was Kenny McPeek's meet last year. He was just dominant in so many of the big races, and Complex Secret here in the rematch, turns the tables. Don't give up on Indy Bay. She still can be very good, but Complex Secret flying late.
Well, change of tactics. She came from off the pace today, where she was the one in front last time, and Indy Bay was stalking her. Indy Bay did all the dirty work. She put away the other speed and just got run down by Complex Secret, getting Lasix for the first time. One of the byproducts of Lasix is it will help a horse settle a little bit, take a little bit of an edge off him. Indy Bay did not get the Lasix. Complex Secret did. And don't sleep on Spot Away. She got left and rushed up. She did show ability, even though she stopped, but she had a reason to stop.
Third time the charm is the favorite for Complex Secret. Turns the tables on Indy Bay. Gets that first win of her career. When we come back, we'll talk Rick Dutrow Jr. on the Derby Trail. McAfee ready to line up in the Jerome on Saturday. Have a preview when we come back.
Down, get in, 350. Here we go. 3 here, 50, down 4, 8.5, in the back. 1,400,000 stands way in the back. Thank you.
$1,500,000 and $1,600,000. $150,000, $1,550,000 and a half. $1,500,000. Jody, thank you.
Please hold your applause. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
These New York bred foals represent many sires. War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at NYRA tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Back with you on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races. And they love their horse racing in Hot Springs. If you love this sport, even if you're just a casual fan, it is bucket list material.
You know, much like Saratoga, the whole town is into the racing and it revolves around the racing. There's so much history there. You go out to dinner, the conversation is what happened at the races that day and what we can look forward to the next day. Kind of like us on set here.
A little bit, yes. Julian Leparoux for Kenny McPeak. Complex Secret breaks through career start number 5. And look at this move, just kicks into gear here to run down Indy Bay. He was running a big race.
She ran another big race, Indy Bay. Change of tactics for Complex Secret. Off the pace, took kick back well, eased out, and came with a relentless run. I turned to you about a 16th out, and I said, Complex Secret gonna gun her down? She gunned her down.
She was moving late to do it. $5.80 for the win. And even with her at 9 to 5, we've had some big prices. It's at 50 cent pick 3 shows. $972 with 2 legs remaining. In this pick 5, we go to race 9. Allowance optional claiming field, 6 furlong sprint. And Pharaoh's Heart, we expected to take plenty of money for David Jacobson, second off the claim, and right now it's 2-1.
Yeah, another full field competitive race. I think there's a lot of ways you can go, and 9 to 5. You feel that's warranted here?
Mischievous Gal.
Yeah.
I certainly think Pharaoh's Heart's dangerous. Dealing Justice I thought was dangerous, but that is the one probably to beat.
Okay. I just thought there were a lot of ways to go, and I think I would be shopping for a little bit more price. These races are just so competitive there.
Well, he'll have a big shot in the Jerome coming up on Saturday, and we're going to look back before we get there to 2005 and a win in this race for Rick Dutrow Jr. Silver Train, who put up a 1:10 Beyer speed figure in this dominant victory, led every step of the way, broke like a rocket out of the gate, and then shortened up into the Breeders' Cup Sprint and was the winner.
Yeah, a very nice horse, very versatile type of horse. I was aboard Artie Schiller here trying dirt.
Wow.
He didn't want the dirt.
Only time he tried it?
No, he had tried it one other time in an allowance race, and he actually ran okay that day. He got left, and he made a middle move, and he wound up third. He obviously was a better turf horse.
Yes, that's where he made his money. As for Silver Train, though, wow, a pretty nice back-to-back. This was when the Jerome was still a grade 2, and this was, trying for a second time with the career to stretch out to a little bit longer distance. And when you get a lead like that and can just roll on the front end, certainly he was able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he just got very comfortable. That was Edgar Prado aboard. Edgar, since retired, Hall of Fame rider of Barbaro.
What is significant about Dutrow's colt we're going to see in the Jerome?
Well, McAfee is a half to Torpedo Anna. Some pretty big horseshoes to fill there.
About to be named our horse of the year. 2-1 right now, won the debut. And surprising with that pedigree to go off at 10-1 first time out.
Yeah, you would have thought that would have caught enough people's attention, but got a great draw too, right? He's outside going a mile, long run down the backstretch here at Aqueduct, and came up a head short when he stretched to a mile, but it's a really nice progression, right? He moved up 10 Beyer points in his second start, and now comes here for the Jerome.
So this is start number 2, and narrowly, as Mick said, gets beat here. But a second try at a mile, certainly you think going to benefit from that experience?
I would think so. And just having that other race under his belt, build a bit more foundation. He was down on the inside. I will say this, he was game. He didn't come through the, largest of openings. So I think the change in post position certainly helped him. Studley Do-Right's back in. To me, a throwback kind of horse, drawn right inside of him, turning back from the mile and eighth Remsen. He, to me, is the horse to beat. But the Derby Trail starts now.
Amazing. We're kicking it off this early, and we love, this series. Certainly here in New York wraps up with a Wood Memorial, but these next few months, they fly by as we start to really separate the pretenders from the contenders.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's going to shake out over the next few months, and obviously horses change, develop. They're young horses. They're going to continue to mature, and who might be the best horse at this moment, 3-year-old wise, not necessarily the same horse will be the best horse in 2 or 3 months' time.
Yeah, things can change awfully fast as we see each and every year on that road to the Kentucky Derby. Love that series, though, both here in New York and certainly at Oaklawn. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have both those preps for you tomorrow on the program. Cyclone State, another one who's looked very impressive. Chad Summers has a good one who's put all of a sudden kind of turned things around. Took a little while to kind of find his footing, and now he's put together back-to-back wins, although he did regress numbers-wise a little bit in that second win, first time facing winners.
Yeah, but he's kind of putting it together, right? By his fourth start, a good second, showing more speed on the stretch out. Horse that probably hits the front again. And I remember Louis Rivera. I spoke to him after this race, and he was telling me something about him, and I think he might be a little bit tricky in the gate if my memory is serving me correct. But listen, speed's always dangerous, and a horse that's in good form in the moment. I agree with you. There was some regression there. The race kind of changed a little bit. There was a late scratch, took some more of the speed out of it, and Cyclone State got to control it, and he's shown that's his style. That's the way he's been successful.
Iowa bred will try and get it done in New York on the road to the Triple Crown on Saturday in the Jerome. We will have live coverage. We're going to step aside for a timeout. We'll be back. Stakes action from out in Hot Springs Saturday as well, not just on the road to the Triple Crown. 3-year-old fillies in action as well in the Mockingbird. Jose D'Angelo will have a shot with She's So Spicy, 4-5 morning line favorite. Stay with us.
Since I was a child, I always loved the horses. More than all the sports, more than everything. My father and my mother told me, like, when they go to pick up me, the teacher say, hey, can we talk with you guys? Your kid put all the chairs in order and sit all his friends, and he say, and they're off. In 2012, I was in the university. One friend owns some horses, and I say, Jose, can you train them? Say, of course I can, but you know, I'm studying right now, so I don't have plan to be a trainer. I had the conversation with my father, he support me. I can't finish my university because I started getting so many horses, and you know, I'm doing that I love. I came from a horseman family. My father was trainer in Venezuela. Now, thanks him, we make a good team here. We have a good operation that everybody work with love. When we win a race, it's not me, it's all my crew, all the guys, all the horses. When you run a race, the people see just the race, but the people don't see all the steps that you do, all the obstacles and the problems that the horse can have, because they are athletes that work hard every day. I claim a lot of horses, and we won so many good races with them. Jesus' thing. Everybody call him different, but you understand, he speaks English and Spanish. So I drive Jesus' team from Momot to here to Saratoga to run the Gene Dandy. You know, we ran all the big races, and always good. He had a bit hard. He always show up. I'm so proud and happy and blessed to train with him. Going to Royal Ascot was successful experience. You know, was so amazing. Was like a movie be there. You know, I thought we got the race, but was so close. We lost by half leg. Was tough beat. It's tough game, you know, like you lose more than races that you won. So I always try to stay positive and take the right decision for the horses and for me. The goal of every horseman, everybody is go and run the Derby, but more than the Derby, I would like to just try to win at the top level all the races that I can. Yes, I'm proud for sure. I feel good to stay winning races, but I still hungry. I want to go and win more.
Globe-trotting trainer Jose D'Angelo to make his presence felt at Oaklawn Park tomorrow afternoon. Field for the Mockingbird Race 7 3-year-old fillies. D'Angelo trains the favorite, number 7. She's So Spicy, 4 to 5 in the morning line. Paul, why such a heavy favorite?
I don't know. Do you want a two-step or what's going on here? She's fast. And you look in the morning, I don't think she can control how fast she is. I mean, her fractions in her last race at Churchill Downs in the Fern Creek were ridiculous. Now, this was her maiden breaking score when she just blew everybody off the racetrack. Now, the race after that, she went 21-44 and was the last filly standing. She just got passed. And there's just really not much in here to match her early speed.
Watch her from the start. As D'Angelo mentioned, as good as she ran that day, he thought she could win. He was surprised that she ran up the score the way she did. He thought the start in the Fern Creek at Churchill cost her, that she should have broke sharper that day. So something to watch right from the start. Paul, if your team, She's So Spicy, who should D'Angelo and company be leery of? On paper, who's poised to pull off an upset?
I think the gate. No, I'm going to be honest with you. I do think the outside filly's got quality chatter for John Ortiz, who dead heated at Keeneland. But let's be honest, Flavien Prat is aboard. The gate gets her beat. If she breaks out of the gate, gets to the front, there's just nobody figure-wise that can run with her. She's ultra fast. And the way this racetrack has played, I just don't even see anybody really running her down. I think the gate's the only thing that gets her beat.
Big day for the 3-year-olds, Greg and Richie, the Mockingbird 3-year-old fillies, and of course the highlight, the boys, the Smarty Jones race number 9 tomorrow.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Look, Flavien Prat will be in town to ride She's So Spicy for Jose D'Angelo. And, as Paul mentioned, like, she is a lightning rod out of the gate. She got run down at 6.5. Doesn't have to go that far tomorrow.
Doesn't have to go that far. And looking at the race, I agree with Paul. I mean, there's a bit of speed, but I don't think anybody has her kind of speed. And Flavien Prat trying to assault his own stakes record already this year. I mean, as hard as that guy worked, as much as he traveled, It's so different than other sports. There's no off season. There's no time to go, let me rest on my laurels. You got to go at it again.
He got a little bit of a breather, for a week and a half?
Before he actually got the record.
Yeah, in between getting that where he broke the graded stakes record, but record for stakes wins, graded stakes wins, 37 million plus in earnings. He's locked up the Eclipse Awards, a tremendous year, but you had to have to pick right back up and find that motivation to keep going.
Man.
Wow, it is, there is no break. It is.
Yeah, it's tough on your
mentally,
body.
It seems even
tough
tougher.
Mentally, it's debilitating mentally. You're constantly, if you're a successful rider, you live your life looking through a keyhole. Everything you do is tunnel vision. The way you eat, the way you sleep, the way it's not a job, it's not a career, it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You're up in the dark. You don't get home until it's dark. You're working horses. You're dealing with people. Travel. The travel is unbelievable, the amount of travel these guys do now. Years ago, leading rider in the country would have 6 million in purses.
Unreal. Yeah, 37 million plus for Pratt. But it helps keep you going a little bit, too, when you get to hoist that trophy and you're going to have your first ever Eclipse Award. Although, too, human nature, which is so amazing to show you what Irad Ortiz Jr. has done, to win it and to keep that motivation and drive going, as he's done year after year after year.
You watch Irad. He rides a 10-claimer at Gulfstream as hard as he rides a Grade 1. Really remarkable.
Here is always Angels, Ramon Vasquez for John Ortiz.
Deep closer from the rail, has to work out a trip.
Lover girl Martin Schwann just pulled off an upset.
Another one that it can show speed at times, but a little one pace.
11-1 here on My Friend Amy with Eric Asmussen.
Eric Asmussen, talk about Eclipse Awards. This is your favorite for Eclipse Award winning apprentice.
31-1 Chandana, Ricardo Santana Jr.
Get Ricardo Santana. That's always a good thing, a hard rider.
Mischievous Gal, the one to beat at 2-1.
Christian Torres, a horse that's 1 for 2 at Oaklawn Park and is tactical. She can be just off the pace if she needs to.
She's trying to win 3 in a row. We skip to the 7 here, Midshipman's Dance, Julian Leperoux.
Turning back in distance, but she's 2 for 2 sprinting.
Here's the 9, Dealing Justice, Major Player, 6-1.
Major Player has a win at Oaklawn, well drawn outside.
And the 10, 33-1, Tapiture's Lady.
Yeah, she's just going to have to run faster than she's previously run to date.
And somewhere out there, Pharaoh's Heart to 6, who's second choice on the board right now at 5-2 for David Jacobson.
Pharaoh's Heart, very tricky. When she was based here in New York, they would have to leave the post race. You see she has a halter on where the pony rider, the outrider with her, has total control of her. I hated that when I was riding. I wanted the reins. I wanted my brakes and steering held by me.
3 minutes away from this 9th. Pharaoh's Heart, we know one thing for sure. She will be hard to miss on the track, guys.
Yeah, Matt Dinneman won't have much of a challenge finding her on the track. Order restored, so to speak, in the last race. We'd had long shot after long shot. The favorites ran 1-2. You like an 8-1 shot here in the night.
Yeah, I like the 1 a little bit in here for Johnny Ortiz. The horse that's taken actually a little bit of money here in the pick 3s and then the will pays. And I think a horse that can sit a good trip with Ramon Vasquez, they do have to beat in the 5 and the 6 in here. Those are the 2 horses you got to focus on in here. You know, the 5 is on a heater right now, and winning a couple in a row. And, you know, the 6 is a player in here too. I'm just looking for somebody that can be a little bit outside the box. You know, Pharaoh's Heart has run some really good races. Mischievous Gal's just in phenomenal form.
Pharaoh's Heart, you're looking at Mischievous Gal at 2-1. Number 7, Midshipman's Dance for Kenny McPeek, Julian Leperoux, looking to go back-to-back in the Friday program here at Oaklawn Park. For Kenny McPeek last year, I mean, maybe he knew, I don't know that the rest of the racing world knew just how good Mystic Dan was. Getting ready for the Smarty Jones last season, and it wasn't just Mystic Dan and how well he eventually ran in the Southwest in the Kentucky Derby, but other horses in the Smarty Jones, where that really was just the beginning, and 3 horses that ran that day that wound up in the Kentucky starting gate, in the Kentucky Derby starting gate, Catching Freedom, who won that Smarty Jones. He wound up running 4th in the Derby. Just Steele, who was the runner-up and the runner-up in the Arkansas Derby. Great post-race interview, Paulie, with D. Wayne Lucas. All right, so he didn't fire in the Derby. And Mystic Dan, who ran 5th, 1 Kentucky Derby point, the eventual Kentucky Derby winner.
Yeah, it's just like a perfect storm. You know, when Oaklawn decided to raise their purse and structure and $4 million. Better horses were coming in. Catching Freedom was a little bit more of a favorite going to Derby, but didn't miss by much. He was 2 lengths behind Mystic Dan, right in between the Japanese horse and obviously the Chad Brown runner.
Sierra Leone for every young.
Yep. So the race has played out to be a key race.
And could this be a key filly in this 9th race, Oaklawn, for Kenny McPeek? What do you make of Midshipman's Dance's chances?
I think the Lasix going on is going to be the key. I mean, this is a horse that's has a lot of talent. Now, can she show it today? Kenny McPeek's barn, like Greg said, it just goes great guns here. And I think getting Lasix today, maybe she'll run her best race.
Midshipman's Dance, number 7, to her inside. Pharaoh's Heart, do we have a chance to sneak in her last victory? It was a while ago. Idle from January of 24 until December, just last month. But that win almost a year ago. It's been a while, but here's what she can do when she's at her best. Taking it to her competition right from the start in New York and wiring that field.
I think the key words were taking it to her competition. She needs to get out of the gate. She needs to show that speed, maybe stay on the lap of the 5, Mischievous Gal, who can actually do a little bit of both. So if you're the rider of the 6, I would think you go to the front end here on Samuel Camacho if you break well and try to take the initiative. And then Mischievous Gal can be a horse that can rate too. I mean, I'm not saying that she needs the front to win at all, but this is the kind of way that the 6 needs to win.
As a handicapper, how do you handle that situation? Okay, that was then, this is now, just the one race since her comeback effort early December right here.
Well, I think it's just like anything else in sports. Everybody throws in a clunker every once in a while, and I just think sometimes you got to be forgiving, be able to find an excuse, draw a line through a race, and then just forget about it. I mean, that's part of handicapping a lot of these races. You got to be able to forget about bad races, and one key would be fierceness. Here's a horse that going into the juvenile, into his 2-year-old, to the 2-year-old race, everybody got off board off him after he had a bad effort. Boom, he goes and he wins the juvenile by a pole. So sometimes you got to be able to forgive horses for certain races.
Generally speaking, she does need to be in control in order to win, does Pharaoh's Heart at 5-2. You touched on Mischievous Gal. Lots to look for right from the start. The difference in Mischievous Gal, where she likes to mix it up early, but she doesn't have to establish a lead in order to finish, in order to win.
Yeah, that's true. And that's what makes her the favorite. She's tactical here. That's why I landed on the 1. I just think she needed her last start. Another horse that needs to get out of the gate. She can sit in a really good spot here. I don't know if she's good enough to win. I know she's getting played, though, in the wheel pace.
7-1 currently, making their way behind the starting gate. These fillies and mares about to sprint 6 furlongs. Co-favorites at post time. Mischievous Gal, Pharaoh's Heart, both at 5-2. Matt Dinnerman with the load and call. Race 9, live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 2.
Pharaoh's Heart, Lover Girl, post 2. Midshipman's Dance and My Friend Amy. Chandana in the Richard Beatty colors. Dealing Justice, walking up to the gate as well. 1 back. Tapiture's Lady to the outside post. Waiting for Tapiture's Lady to take her spot. Tapiture's Lady goes in. We're ready to go. And we're off. Mischievous Gal popped right out of there, takes advantage of the good break and strides to a narrow lead. Dealing Justice, keeping tabs on her. Always Angels down on the inside, joining the fun on the front end. Lover Girl on the outside in the 4th position. Pharaoh's Heart the Gray alongside. Midshipman's Dance is deep, and farther out is Tapiture's Lady. Another length and a half to Chandana. And My Friend Amy's at the tail, has no pace to chase. Not a fast pace here for the first quarter mile for this sprint effort. Mischievous Gal went 22 and 4/5 seconds. So not a fast pace at all here on the front end. Mischievous Gal a neck in front, dealing justice right there, turning up the pressure. And these two lock horns with about 5/16 to go. Gap of 2 to Pharaoh's Heart is sent along from that position. Always Angels on the inside, saving ground, attempting to get closer and tipping outside. Shandana's making a wide rally, swings about 5 wide at the top of the lane. Dealing justice has collared Mischievous Gal on the front end. She's not going away though, Mischievous Gal coming right back. Pharaoh's Heart on the grandstand side there. Mischievous Gal very determined, reclaims the lead and inches away. Always Angels on the rail coming up for a minor slice, but it's Mischievous Gal on top. Mischievous Gal, 3 wins in a row for her. Pharaoh's Heart, second best. Photo for the Shodo. Dealing justice and Always Angels.
She's a fighter, and she's sharp. Since joining Matt Williams' stable, make it 3 straight. Mischievous Gal turns back all challengers, strikes at 9-5 with leading rider Christian Torres.
Yeah, the race was over with the break, Lafitte. We were telling you that, talking about how she could be tactical. When she won the break, the race was kind of over, and you could see that the jockey was sitting chilly most of the way. Good effort here by the 6 here. Pharaoh's Heart didn't get everything her own way. I thought ran a courageous race run up to second. I think the 1 snuck up the rail for third. So ABC here in the betting order here.
With Mischievous Gal and Matt Dinnerman picking up on the pace, headed up the backstretch, how slow this was, given this quality of filly and mare, the 6-furlong sprint, so in control. She wound up taking pressure from Dealing Justice, but Mischievous Gal had everything her own way early on.
Yeah, she did. She'd be able to go 46. Yeah, for the half, that's slow for her. I mean, that's basically a gallop. She was able to speed it up in 110, and I was wrong. The 9 actually did hang on for third, so 5, 6, 9, 1.
Mischievous Gal, Chris Duggan, winning owner, the Practical Joke mare, 3 straight. 2-time winner here at Oaklawn Park, Christian Torres, another win, 5, 6, 9, 1. Results forthcoming, 9 down, 1 to go on this eve of the Smarty Jones from Oaklawn Park. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Jackie's Warrior quickly in front here by 2 lengths. Here comes Jackie's Warrior up the inside to take over the lead from Life is Good. Jackie's Warrior remains undefeated here at Saratoga, and he wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the 3rd straight season.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man. Sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
Back on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races. It's Paul LaDuca's trip to the racetrack. I'm assuming he has the trackside view. He better. Straight through the casino. What a facility. So much they've done to this racetrack to make it just so incredibly fan-friendly and make it a destination spot.
Good restaurants, obviously the casino, great horse racing. The hotel is beautiful. And Paul likes to sit right there where they got the all the games going on, and then we go right through the door off to the set, meet him down there every morning. It's a good time there. Really is a lot of fun.
Mischievous Gal, this win streak keeps on rolling. 3 in a row now for this 5-year-old mare who is 7 for 17 lifetime.
Get Christian Torres. Horses always show good speed for him. He always seems to have a little something left. First quarter was not fast by Oaklawn Park standards by any means. Really nice effort by the runner-up. Pharaoh's Heart took a big step forward in her second start, rallied from just off the pace to be second. But Mischievous Gal in good form and now 2 for 3 at Oaklawn Park.
Pharaoh's Heart made a run at her, but comes up short. Mischievous Gal just too sharp right now. 2 for 3 at Oaklawn, $5.60 for the win. And 1 race remains to close out Friday action from Hot Springs. 6 furlong sprint, $12,000 starter allowance, fillies and mares, 4 and up. An American Band on the outside, taking plenty of support, as is Awesome Anne Marie right now, the 7. Chris Hartman off the claim.
Yeah, another one with speed, should be forward, making her first start at Oaklawn Park for Chris Hartman.
More on this one when we come back from a timeout. As we just talked about with the casino, that hotel overlooking the racetrack, the Sella family continuing to make this an incredible destination for any kind of sports fan. We'll have more on that next.
First and foremost, it's a family operation. It's fun to be a 4th generation president of Oaklawn and to see how we've grown. We've been in the same location. We haven't had to move across the street. That's kind of neat. It is about racing at Oaklawn. We tell everyone, especially our new employees, it's racing first. My great-grandfather, Louis Sella, built it in 1904. Charles Sella took over after him. John Sella took over after him, and then we had another Charles Sella, my father, take it over, and now we have Louis Sella. We like keeping the same names in the family. It helps with monogramming. I would sit in on meetings even at a young age. My father would take me and say, you know, be quiet and sit in the corner, and I'd do and just listen. And throughout my life, I've been involved with racing, and it's always been really a part of me until finally the time when it was time to move in and commit. You can look at our media guide, which is published online as well, and look at that history. It's remarkable. We've beaten Prohibition, and we've gone through a couple of world wars and Vietnam and depressions, recessions. Truly, the reason we're successful is for the reasons I just said, that we've been able to evolve, we've been able to change with the times. Beyond that, it's racing first, and really the oldest family in racetrack management in the United States, and we're very proud of that, and we're proud of that legacy, and we think that racing is successful and exciting and has a great future if you believe in it, and if you put your heart and soul in it, and you go forward with that mentality. We see that with our employees, we see that with our trainers, our horsemen, we see that with the horse owners that fly in from coast to coast because of the excitement that we have here at Oaklawn.
The Sella family, Oaklawn Park, and the pride they must have watching what Oaklawn was, what it has become. Of course, some of the finest winter spring racing in North America, the massive purses, and oh yeah, by the way, that hotel and casino, something for everyone in the family here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and a hotel and casino that my colleague here to the right says the spa should belong in Dubai.
It's that good? Dubai. It's awesome. It is awesome. Like I said, something for everyone here at Oaklawn Park. And for the racing fan, of course, tomorrow, well, it's the first step towards the Arkansas Derby, maybe beyond, maybe on to the Kentucky Derby. You'll see it right here on America's Day at the Races. This series in total, though, the points that are offered, but now the money that's being offered here, Paulie, it's $4 million combined in these four key stepping stones towards the Kentucky Derby.
And it's just what a job the Sella family has done, all the way, obviously, from the late, great Charles down to Lou, who's now running things. This has turned into a beautiful place to watch races, a beautiful place to come, and it's been a fabric, obviously, of this town. If you look at this racetrack, it's basically a city block. And let's be honest about it. And you know, go across the street. There's a couple bars that were based off the movie Let It Ride. So there's just so much history here when it comes to it. We talked about Wrigley Field. The original rafters were built by the same people that built Wrigley Field's rafters. So there's so much history here, and I'm glad that they kept the history with the new.
It's the history, the tradition. It doesn't go back that far. The Smarty Jones, but tomorrow is the 18th running for these 3-year-olds, $250,000 purse. Kale's Angel, drawn on the rail. It brings a lot of speed to the party. Going back, you and I were here opening day in the Advent, and you said he's going to handle the dirt just fine, and they better look out for him in that opening day feature.
Well, I think the tall tale is the minute I came into town, and that was, I want to say, December 4th, I walked into the racetrack to get to my credentials, and Peter Miller was schooling this horse before opening day. And I looked at Peter, and he said, I'll tell you right now, this is a runner. We have not run him on dirt yet, but we're going to run him on dirt. He's been training so well over it. Now he gets the rail draw in the Smarty Jones, and I would think that's going to be part of the party, him going to the front end. And he shows what he did last time. He could be a tough customer.
The talent is there, the speed, his weapon. The question will be the distance now, and how effective will he be at 1 1/16 miles? How far can he carry that speed?
And it's very interesting that Peter chooses this route instead of going the California route with this type of horse, but obviously he knows, okay, this horse likes the racetrack. First time over dirt was successful. Now we're going to go into the big waters going around 2 turns. I think it's a good spot to try, and I think a major contender.
No easy leads for the favorite Hot Property, the 8-5 morning line favorite, as he experienced in his debut, not with Kale's Angel and company in there.
No, I think Kale's Angel will go to the front end. And if you look at a lot of Brad Cox horses, they do like that stalking position right on the outside, sitting second. I think that's how the race will play out, at least early.
Tomorrow, Smarty Jones will have it for you right here on Fox Sports 2. 3-year-olds taking center stage. Also, the Mockingbird for 3-year-old fillies. That's tomorrow. First things first, one left on the Friday program. Horses in the paddock. Riders up, post-parade, post-time in 6 minutes.
A reputation of excellence isn't built overnight. Day by day, year by year, decade after decade. For over 100 years, Claiborne's commitment to quality has led to unrivaled success. Building on the past, building for the future. Claiborne Farm. The tradition continues.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
If you walk around the Oaklawn backstretch, you'll notice that the barns don't have numbers. The barns instead are named in honor of horses significant to Oaklawn's rich history.
Here come two champions, side by side. Heavily prized to the outside and Pansiana right there. And Senora flies to the lead in the middle of the track. And it's Smarty Jones. One step forward to Kentucky and one giant step to $5 million.
It's time to make some memories.
American Pharoah, breathtaking in a mesmerizing performance. The Oaklawn handicap and #1 rating will go to Cigar by 2.5. The champion Azeri, here she comes down the middle, and she does it.
40 barns named after 40 important horses, all who helped to contribute to Oaklawn's rich history in their own way.
Curlin is going to decimate this field, winning the Arkansas Derby by 9 lengths.
Time to make some memories.
So many racing greats with compelling storylines and ties to Oaklawn.
Whitmore win time, Whitmore!
Of course, you saw that last barn named after Whitmore. That's the recent addition after one of the most popular horses we've seen there in a long, long time. The outstanding sprinter who won Breeders' Cup Sprint as well. Every racetrack has their own little unique take on things. I like how they do that out there in Hot Springs.
I like that too. I was walking around last year on the backstretch there, and you run into horses that I became fans watching that have barns named for them.
Here's our post parade for the nightcap. We start with Forever Home.
Hard knocking, consistent speed from the inside. Julian has to be aggressive.
Starlit Sophie, 45-1.
Have to be faster than we've seen previous.
Biggest price on the board. Here's Sequin Lady at 5-1. David Jacobson.
Yeah, another David Jacobson here, and a horse that should be in a stalking position.
Backed by Gold was here in New York when last seen.
Another David Jacobson, a New York bred, trying Arkansas.
Fearless Christie Ricardo Santana Jr. rides.
Yeah, the current form leaves a bit to be desired.
Awesome Anne-Marie Chris Hartman claiming off of David Jacobson.
But she's consistently shows speed, and she should be forward.
9-time winner, beat at 3-5 the last start. Singing Emma at 17-1.
Can show speed, and she could have a say in how this race run. Don't like her as a win candidate.
This one's interesting. Austrian Navy ran a huge figure, but a Thistledown 2 starts ago.
Thistledown's but a 12-time winner and a horse that consistently has speed.
Here's Majestic Oops. Put together back-to-back pretty big numbers, and most recently at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, it was racing in Western Canada through the spring, summer, into the fall before that good effort at Churchill, and you get your leading rider, Christian Torres.
An American Band, 6-year-old mare on the outsides, won half of her 12 starts.
6 for 12, a winning habit. 6 of those wins came at Oaklawn Park from 8 starts with 2 seconds. Major horse for the course.
You can play this finale, all the action, cross-country pick 5s, all of it, by getting signed up right there at Naira Bets. Play all the action we bring you on the program each and every day. $200 deposit match new customer bonus. The offer when you punch in that code for new members at sign up, bonus $200. Again, right there at NairaBets.com. How do you guys see this finale to close things out?
Paulie, who takes the nightcap?
Well, I thought this was a really difficult race. I landed on the 7 in here, Awesome Anne-Marie for Rafael Bejarano and Chris Hartman. But, you know what? After looking at the post parade, the 12 horse, my goodness, I looked at John Horan, was just right to the right of us, and I asked him, I said, man, your horse looks amazing. And he goes, well, hopefully the horse doesn't need one and runs like that he looks. But I tell you what, he looked tremendous, and the money is showing up on the 12 horse.
Currently the 5-2 favorite. Directly to her inside, you heard Richie and Greg discussing Majestic Oops, contender at 5-1. Yeah, this was her most recent effort. Majestic Oops at Churchill, mid-November, stalking the pace, engaging the leader, and a big effort in the end. Just a heartbreaking loss.
It was a heartbreaking loss. She was almost 2 lengths clear of that field, and this was a horse that was running up in Canada for a little while. And if you look way back in her PPs, the 11 Majestic Oops, she actually started her career sprinting, going around 1 turn at Golden Gate. As she's gotten older, they decided to go a bit longer, but she can be a 1-turn spinner. Now, this was a 1-turn mile, and she got run down here late, but with Christian Torres aboard. She does have a lot of second places compared to first places, so that is your worry a little bit, but she is a contender.
She's home. She's home, right?
Yeah, that worries you.
Where's the wire? Just picked off late. And if you like her today, you're 5-1.
You're getting 5-1, and like I said, she's had experience before sprinting, so I can see that happening. Now the 4 with David Jacobson, I kind of don't get, but again, another horse that's come in with some decent efforts, has run behind a couple of these horses, but is 5-1. If you're going to go 5-1 there, why wouldn't you take 7-1 on the 1?
Forever Home. And speaking of which, her most recent, also at Churchill Downs, late November. She flashed good tactical speed. She was battling right to the wire before just getting overcome late.
Yeah, both of these horses had bad beats. We just showed you the last one, and Forever Home was really battling most of the way, and into fast fractions. They went 122, and she's just going to get out finished here. But they're about 2 lengths clear of Starlight Sophie, I think I want to say, or Sequin Lady, excuse me, that's in this spot here, the 4, the gray that's going to be rolling. So I just think she ran a better effort. So if the 4 is 5-1, why is the 1 7-1. I just thought the one ran better.
She has won from the rail in the past. What do you make of her chances strategically? What needs to happen early on for her to be a factor with Julien Leparoux from the inside post?
Well, Julian's so sharp. He's not a send-type rider, but he will hold his position. Now, she is 0 for 9 over this racetrack, but he should hold his position there. She should get a good trip. If you look at her, she's been like 7-1 to 4-1 her last 6 starts, and she's always right there.
What Julien say? He say something to you after the post parade?
Well, I dropped my newspaper, and he said, "Gather yourself."
Only man in America with a newspaper.
So I had to run on the field to get my racing for her. I mean, he told me to gather myself. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna pick you, so gather yourself." That's what I told him.
Julien Leparoux looking for a second win on the afternoon, forever home, 6-1. Paulie's top selection in the nightcap. We watched that feature coming out of break and the history of Oaklawn Park, and also the name. It surprises me this hasn't caught on at more racing venues, at more racetracks, where instead of numbers, barns on the backstretch aren't named after great horses that performed at some of these racetracks.
Kind of true.
It's very cool.
No, that's actually a really good idea. I mean, I lived in a complex where it was Santa Anita Way, Del Mar Avenue, and it was a indoor complex. It had Arlington Way. It had every racetrack was a street inside. So yeah, that actually would be pretty cool.
It's like more memorable too. I'd get lost easily just with numbers. It would be helpful. Just saying, it would be helpful. Going with names instead of numbers.
Yeah, it would be helpful with the numbers the Dodgers have been dealing with. Yeah, okay.
Going to be an interesting season with the Mets and Dodgers. Indeed, 10th race here. Oaklawn approaching the starting gate, and now, wow, 9-5. Speaking of losing our paper.
A ton of back. And like I said, she looks so good in the post parade. I mean, you could literally see your reflection off her flank. I mean, and Johnny, you could tell he's a little nervous. He's a sharp trainer, and he was a little nervous. He was buttoning up his jacket. I think he knows he's got the live commodity here. He just basically told me, I hope I have her ready.
12-1 in the morning line, 8-5 American Band. 6-year-old mare, done her best work. There's something to be said for horses, for courses.
Yes,
Some buy into this theory a little bit more so than others, but hard to ignore. The 8 starts here at Oaklawn with 6 wins and 2 runner-up efforts.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, this racetrack is one of those racetracks where horse for course does work. We saw Skelly do it last year, the year before, just running rampant through. And listen, he's a tremendous horse, but, you know, when you like this race course, you like this race course. So, you know, I think the 1's got a big chance. The 12 is taking an immense amount of money, and I think that's giving you great value on the 7, to be honest.
Fair track all afternoon. Inside speed just fine. Closers just fine. Exactly what you want. Hopefully more of the same for tomorrow's Mockingbird and Smarty Jones.
Just going to be a little bit colder. That's about it. But this, I'll tell you what, all the rain that we had last week, the crew here has done a great job.
Look forward to having you join us. Mockingbird, Smarty Jones tomorrow afternoon, and this 10th and final to close out the program. Filing into the gate, American Band, 3-2 at post time. Smart money, question mark? We're about to find out. Matt Dinnerman with the load and call. 10th, the nightcap from Oaklawn.
Sequin Lady has got in. Backed by Gold, Austrian Navy. Here's Majestic Oops. Fearless Christie. And to the outside post, American Band. We wait for American Band coming up. She's it. We're ready to go in the finale. And they're off. And leaping in the air at the start, Fearless Christie totally blew the break and spots the field at least a dozen lengths. Would need to do something special to win this one. Forever Home from the inside, flashing the most speed as a narrow lead. It's a contentious battle on the front end, though. Austrian Navy is there as well. American Band on the far outside, not far off in the green cap. Awesome Anne-Marie off those leaders, runs in fourth, gets a good position approaching the far turn run. She's 2.5 ahead of Backed by Gold going into the turn. Majestic Oops and Starlet Sophie inside of that pair shuffled back. The gray Sequin Lady is next in the field. Singing Emma is second to last. Fearless Christie hopelessly last as they round the far turn. American Band coming up to challenge Austria, Navy, and Forever Home. These three across the track with a quarter-mile more to go. And Awesome Anne-Marie is getting outside out of harm's way to try to run these three down at the top of the lane. American Band confidently handled on the grandstand side, is now asked for her best. Awesome Anne-Marie is there. Majestic Oops far outside, putting in a bid. Furlong to go. American Band holding on to the lead. Awesome Anne-Marie under the left-handed stick, and then Majestic Oops alongside. It's American Band. She loves Oaklawn, and she's back in her favorite place, Hot Springs, Arkansas. Last year's matron winner scores off the layoff for John Horan. Majestic Oops was second. Awesome Anne-Marie third. Back by Gold fourth.
Smart money indeed. John Horan, come on down. American Band to the nightcap. 9 to 5 at post time.
He'll be rolling on down here pretty soon with that Australian, New Zealand accent. I still don't know where he's from, but he came down here, and I told you, listen, I'm not Maggie, I'm not Acacia, I'm not Meg at all, but when I can see my reflection off a horse, I knew this horse was live. And you know what? They bet 9 to 5, and there's Johnny right there with his camel jacket on, and I think a little bit of relief here.
Looked apart, performed accordingly. There is an inquiry. 12, 11, 7, 5. And I believe it involves the start of the race. I think it was the 6-horse, a 53-1 shot, who was out of the blocks very, very late.
You got to love the horseman here. Dan Ward just ran second right now, and just was just like, by the way, it was the start. I mean, the horsemen here are just so great when it comes to everything. He just came by and said, hey, guys, it's the start of the race. They've already taken the inquiry down, if I'm not mistaken here, Lafitte.
12, 11, 7, 5. Greg and Richie, just involved the start for the 6-horse. 12, 11, 7, 5 here in the nightcap at Oaklawn.
So it's American Band, 7 wins down, 13 starts, and as you heard in the call from Matt Dinnerman, last year's matron winner, or last meet's matron winner with a victory. Tomorrow we'll see McAfee, the half-brother to the likely horse of the year, Torpedo Anna, try and kick off his Derby run as a 3-year-old in the Jerome. Studley Do Right, Nashua winner, tries to get back on track after a loss in the Remsen. And Kale's Angel proved he could handle the dirt. Can he handle the extra ground? And the Smarty Jones, we'll see you tomorrow at 3 on FS2.